episode 37 of the Stagler. We're really out here being 37, so pretty soon we're going to need to get that old podcast prostate exam. Show the camera right up there in a few episodes.
Sure.
Episode 40, whatever that episode's going to be, is going to be the prostate exam episode, I think.
Awesome. That sounds fantastic.
That'll be great. But guys, we're back. I'm Justin.
I'm Nick.
And I've decided, personally, I haven't told you, but I've made the executive decision that we would start having a new segment on the show, which I think is just really, really exciting to me.
Okay.
To have a new segment. I mean, everyone likes new, exciting
New segment.
stuff.
Let's go.
So, as you know, this is a bi-weekly show. Bi-weekly as in every other week, not twice weekly.
Right.
So I thought we could start at the top of every episode with a special segment called Fortnite This Fortnite.
This fortnight.
And this Fortnite, you know,
it.
and it's like we're just always talking about what's up with Fortnite recently in the news. And so, like, I'm sure that something really fun and exciting has been happening. And I know you keep up to date with a lot of that stuff.
I'm always on top of Fortnite.
Like, I say, let's kick off this new segment. I'm so happy. I mean, this has been a dream of mine since the show started, to have this segment on the show. So I'm really happy.
Wow.
Our producers have been, like, so helpful with this.
That's
and
fantastic.
let's kick it off. Why wait? Fortnite, this Fortnite.
This fortnight. Congratulations to all involved. The great Martin Luther King Jr. is now in Fortnite. Congratulations. Awesome. You can play Martin Luther King Jr. in Fortnite.
Wait.
Well, I don't know if you can play him. Can you
Is
play
he
as
a
him?
skin? Because I don't think he's a skin.
That would be bad.
That's really bad. I don't think he. I'm sorry.
But there's like.
But there's an event. He has a concert. He has an event. It's a commemorative.
A concert?
Well, you know what I mean. It's an event. It's like you go and I mean, really, the people playing is mostly kids. Maybe a lot of them, you know, this is stuff that they need to know. But it's like there's like a screen or whatever, and he like does a speech or something. That's
okay.
That's the gist I got from it.
I don't know. I just saw that he was in Fortnite, and I saw his Fortnite model, and I was like, "Yep."
Right. Well,
that's
here's the
happening.
thing. I saw like an ad where it was his model from the Fortnite, and it had like PS5 in the corner. I was like, that feels so weird.
That's awesome.
I got the impression that they had to disable emotes during it because they didn't want people to be disrespectful, which makes sense.
Right.
But here's the thing. Fortnite obviously has a bunch of properties and stuff. And so when you're kind of like doing all this licensing deals, like there's certain kind of rules that like, you know, maybe, you know, you can't just delete stuff for whenever because you have a contract that you signed to. And I had somebody tell me that currently they're working with DC right now.
Okay.
You know, Detective Comics, like Batman and stuff.
Yep.
And I heard that Catwoman is like a skin or something.
Sure.
And so she has her own emote. And do you know what weapon Catwoman uses?
A gun. The scar.
She
the
uses,
gold. The
no,
golden scar.
the character Catwoman.
Oh, her claws.
Well, that, and she has a whip.
Right. Yeah, the whip.
And so there's a whip crack emote.
Oh.
And they can't get rid of it, I've been told. So some unsavory types have been using that to do what they do. And I mean, when you have a game that's mostly children, how many of them are going to be sensitive? It's so weird to do an event that is so obviously able to be, like, pranked. What's the word? Fucked with?
Pranked.
You know? But it's just such a weird, I don't know, the whole thing. But it was definitely an interesting headline to read on Twitter one morning.
Epic Games is just really going for it.
It really is epic, isn't it?
It's very epic.
Very epic indeed. But I think I'd feel more comfortable if we wrapped up this segment.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I think we're never going to do this segment ever again.
Until next fortnight.
Maybe.
When there's new Fortnite news.
Who knows? We'll see. This fortnight. I like it. I think it's sellable.
It is.
I think we can clip that.
Clip that, mods?
Clip that, mods. Clip that. Anyway, for real, guys, this episode, our spotlight today is going to be on Japanese films. Just a handful of sort of kind of random films. I mean, a few of them are definitely very impactful films, and the other ones are just kind of the ones we chose. For whatever reason, they're not very happy films. That's just kind of how it turned out.
It's not our fault.
Because we both just picked some separately. Then when we came together, they're like, "Are any of these
We're
feel
attracted
good?"
to despair, I guess.
I guess we are. I don't know.
What are you gonna do?
But regardless of that, they're all good films, so no worries there.
Some even great.
Some even fantastic. I
Some
would
maybe
say.
perfect.
Yeah, some even daijobu.
Sure.
I think that means fine. So that'd be like an insult.
Yeah, I don't think any of these movies are
Daijobu.
fine.
That's what they say when they're like, "Are you okay?" They go like daijobu, right?
I don't know.
That's what I don't know anything about Japan, or if I do know anything, it's through like anime. And we're all dressed up today. If you're listening to the thing, Nick has got an Akira shirt going on over there.
Go.
I'm wearing
See?
a shirt that, if I cover half of it, looks like it might say anime,
But it doesn't.
but it doesn't.
But it might.
But it might. And even Marilyn is getting in the spirit of things. Yep. That's
Very
it.
cool. Very cool.
Very, very cool all around. But until then, why don't we just start off like we do every week with our weeks?
Our fortnights.
Yeah.
Okay.
Weeks plural, not weeks
I didn't
possessive.
do much.
Weeks
to be
plural
honest.
and possessive.
Did though. I had one thing. I did one thing.
No,
I finally, after what feels like forever, which it probably was, if anyone has the tally of how many episodes this took me, I finally finished the Community.
Community. Nice.
Yes, I finally finished. It's the 6-season show. I finally did it. And I mean, I don't know. I've talked about this show a lot. It's good. It's a good show.
Oh, it's still good though?
It is. Season 6 was fine.
Oh.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. I guess I can talk about the show as a whole. The first 3 seasons are absolutely incredibly hilarious, awesome, funny, very well written, awesome stuff. Then season 4 happens, which is honestly really bad. Season 4 is bad.
Okay.
Very not funny most of the time. Apparently, I found out, I guess, that they like changed like directors and like the writers, or there was like a writer's strike or something during like that season. So that's why that was like bad. And then season 5 came back and they brought the original person like back. So that's why season 5 was like better. But in season 5, we lose Chevy Chase and Donald Glover.
Yeah, rest in peace.
So that's so that kind of sucks because they're both very funny.
Okay.
And then at the end of season 5, we also lose. I can't think of the actress's name, but Shirley from the show. Her name is Shirley in the show.
Okay.
We lose her too. So now there's only like 4 or 5 left from the main crew, and they bring in like new people to try to like.
Never
in.
works.
And
Has that ever worked?
No.
I'm trying to think like last season bringing new people in. Maybe like second season, like sure that would be fine. But like, is anybody who's ever been brought in the last season been like, what a great addition, and I'm happy.
Yeah. So that was kind of weird. So I didn't even mention this when I talked about season 5 last episode. They put in Jonathan Banks, the great Mike Ehrman Trout. And he was in season 5. He's not in season 6, but he was in season 5. He was pretty funny.
Okay.
So that was cool.
That is a cool detail.
And then in season 6, we add another character. I don't know her name. I can't even remember her name. So, and there's another character that I don't remember. I think his name's Elroy. He was all right.
Okay.
But season 6, it was kind of like season 5. It had its moments. It has some of its not moments. But overall, I thought it was pretty all right. And I thought the last episode was actually very good. So the last episode, what?
No, continue. Last episode.
Okay, it's basically, I thought it was a pretty clever idea. It's basically, so the whole show, one of the characters, Abed, is basically very like sentient, that they're in a show, and he's always like, we're in a show, so I'm going to do show things, and can't wait for the next season, or like, hey, we need to do this because it'll progress this. He's very meta stuff. And so at the end of the very last episode, he's like, they're all sitting at a table, and he's like, this is the end of the show, so we need to all do like a pitch of what season 7 would be or whatever. So the whole episode is like each of the characters like coming up with their own idea for like what season 7 of the show would be. And I thought that was pretty cool. And there was, some funny stuff or whatever.
So there's no like plot?
What do you mean?
Like I thought they would like graduate or whatever.
Well, yeah, they're done with school.
Okay. I was like, I thought that'd be like
they're
point
done.
of the show.
Yeah, they're done with school and they're all going their separate ways now.
Okay.
But that was like, they're like, imagine, if community could last forever.
Right.
But it can't, because life is finite.
Yes.
And then there was a very funny joke that Ken Jeong made. He plays Chang. And there was a part where Abed is doing his cool thing. And he was saying, like, cool. And he was like, I did one cool for each season. And then Chang was like, do it again. And he was like, cool. And he farts during the fourth cool. And I was like, wait, I'm confused. And then he like says, he was like, I farted during the fourth cool. That's an inside joke. And I was like, that's really funny.
That is pretty funny.
Because obviously the fourth season was not good.
Yeah, that's sad too.
And obviously the Russo brothers like worked on the show a lot. And there's a lot of funny, like, in the last episode, they're like talking about, they're like, and these crappy Marvel movies, I don't want to watch them anymore.
Yeah.
Like, there's just kind of a lot of stupid stuff like that. But it was cool. And I definitely would recommend the show to anyone that likes funny shows.
Okay.
I guess, I don't know if you like comedies. Watch it. It's very cool. Very hip.
So, is it more irreverent, or is it like deadpan, or is it anachronistic?
What?
The comedy. Is it slapstick?
No, I don't know. I don't know how to explain comedy.
Okay, it's probably irreverent then if you can't explain it.
Okay. Well, it would be like, I don't know. It would be like, I don't know. It's weird. It's a
Okay.
weird show. There's a lot of weird things happening.
It's kind of what irreverent means.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, cool.
It was cool.
I don't know if I'm ever going to check it out anytime soon. If I do,
You don't
it
have
would
to.
be a surprise to myself.
I wouldn't say it's a must watch, but I would say if you like, Donald Glover.
Comedy shows
some
can be a
other
hard sell
people,
for me
and
for
it
whatever
just
reason.
depends. Me too.
Yeah.
Being honest. So
Was that it this week?
that was it. I feel bad.
Okay, I didn't do much this week either, so I don't know. Because first off, I just want to say that I finished what I brought up last week, which is Code Geass. It's done. There's only 50 episodes. I watched all 50.
How's Lelouch doing?
Lelouch, he's a very interesting guy. I thought this show rocked. I thought it was fantastic from start to finish. I don't think there
That's what
were
most people
any bumps along the way. The one thing that is weird,
No bumps.
well, there's bumps, but they accentuate the bumps on one specific character like throughout the whole show.
Lelouch.
No. the super fighter mech pilot girl.
Oh, okay.
And that's one thing where I guess it's just an anime thing that you always have to get used to, of just being like, yep, they're gonna show ass shots of this like high school girl, but like, really, is she even in high school anymore? Because it's like, well, no, she is, but like, by the time you get to the second season, it's like the high school is gone. Like, it's like we just do fighting now. There's no classes are being skipped, whatever. So that's just a culture thing that you just have to overlook, I guess. But other than that, the characters are all pretty interesting. There's sort of not a revelation, I guess, because it's not something that necessarily you have to wait until the end to understand. But it's something that by the end you'll definitely understand if you did kind of miss it. And it kind of puts everything into a slightly new perspective when you think of it through that lens. Obviously, I don't want to spoil it because I want you to watch it because it's a fantastic show.
I will.
But I can't say too much without spoiling. Other than I think the way that it ended was 100% completely satisfying. And honestly, by the time last episode, where I'd only watched the first half, I was kind of like, if it doesn't end like this, it's a bad show. But then it ended the way I wanted it to, so I was like, yeah,
Nice.
good. It's a good show. But what can I say? Lelouch, she's a very cool. There's movies I know. I don't know if I'm going to check them out, but I think there's movies too.
Oh, nice.
So I might see what those are about if I get the itch to revisit Lelouch and Suzaku.
Is Lelouch like Eren Yeager? I've heard a lot of people say that Lelouch and Eren Yeager are like very similar.
I believe I said that last episode even.
Oh.
And I would say yes, but here's the thing. I don't know the end. Actually, I have an idea because I've heard that the ending of Attack on Titan made people mad.
Well, it's divisive. The ending of
Yes.
Attack on Titan will be very divisive, and it will make a lot of people angry and it'll make a lot of people happy.
You said that you were happy with it.
For the most part.
For the most part,
I think
happy with it.
I think it's a good ending, but I don't think it's great or fantastic. I think it's good.
I feel like the way that this series ended and the way that series ended are very similar, except maybe they went different ways. You know what I mean? Again, I don't know the ending of Attack on Titan, so I can't really say.
Well,
but just-
basically, what happens is
Oh yeah, thanks. Soon enough, I'll know. I've really thought about reading it a bit, but I've staved it off. I don't have too long to wait anyway, to figure out how it all ends. But I get that impression that the endings could be kind of a similar vein, because I don't know. I mean, this was like 2008 when the show came out, so I don't know what the talk about it was, other than people in retrospect go back and will say, yeah, it's a great show. So if people were mad at the ending of this show back then, they'd be wrong. But whatever. I think it's a great ending, and all the characters have happy endings. There's just like very few minor things that quote unquote don't make sense. Kinda, they can be explained away, and there is an explanation, but it's kind of like, all right, that's kind of far fetched.
Okay,
you know what I mean? But if you don't let that get your way, because of course they can be explained, then you'll find the ending entirely satisfying.
Wonderful.
Although maybe it is a little bit optimistic, I would say, if I had to say one thing, but that's fine.
We love our nihilism here.
Yes, I mean, as you'll see later on.
Yes.
And I watched one movie.
Uno.
From like 2018, I think. And it was all the hubbub back then for a little bit. There was like a month when the movie came out that I remember a lot of people talking about it. I'm talking about Love, Simon. And this is a movie about a main character kid in I don't remember his name.
Simon.
Oh, you've seen it.
I don't know. I haven't, but I was just assuming.
Yeah, Simon, and he's a closeted homosexual in like high school, and he's texting Bluebeard over email or something.
Bluebeard?
Yeah, the pirate or something. I don't know. They had like screen names or whatever.
Okay.
No, it was just Blue, I think. It was just Blue. It's like, oh, thanks, Blue. You really helped me.
I didn't know if
with
Bluebeard
whatever.
was like a One Piece thing.
It might be. One Piece.
There's a lot of One Piece things.
Never doing One Piece. Anyway, this movie was good. You know, I can see why everyone was like, oh, it's so nice, because it's a sweet movie. You know, it's like he has all these insecurities, like, oh, I can't come out of the closet, blah, blah, and then he does, and everyone's like, okay, that's fine. And then the movie kind of ends. There's a lot more to it than that, because he's trying to like find the guy that he's talking to, because they both are like struggling with the same thing, and his situation's like worse than the main characters, but whatever. At the end of the day, it's a movie that doesn't have like hate crimes in it.
Yeah.
So
nice.
It's nice to just watch and be like, oh, this is cool, because it's relatable on the level of all the insecurities, but doesn't actually like act out any of them as some sort of like torturous device for the film to like get you.
Yeah.
So yeah, Love, Simon, that was good.
Nice.
It's not high art. You know, I don't think I'd ever watch it again, but
it's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine, Simon.
I feel like that was a reference to something.
Nope.
Alvin and the Chipmunks?
Yep.
Alvin's
You got it.
It's fine, Simon. We'll sing I Want a Hula Hoop.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't know Alvin and the Chipmunks?
I know it from the Disaster movie.
Alvin.
That's not it.
Evil incarnate. Evil incarnate. That's a funny movie. That's a funny movie when you aren't watching it. Anyway, that'll do it for our weeks.
Yeah.
Short
So
little
now
weeks.
it's time for the news.
We have news.
Very important news right off the
yeah?
bat. Right off the bat.
Okay.
Something very important to many young people across the world.
The world.
Ultra Instinct Shaggy has been. I know, just saying the
Just
name.
saying his name is like could
know.
summon him.
He has officially been made canon in the universe.
Okay, but is he?
So that's amazing. So in any of the future Scooby-Doo flicks,
Yes.
if the ghost is really bad, Shaggy could just Ultra Instinct blow up the whole planet and win.
What have you? I have personally my favorite Ultra Instinct Shaggy meme that I remember seeing like a year ago or whatever,
Okay.
and it was the Matthew Lillard, I think, the live action actor. It was like a behind the scenes thing where they just put their own text over it.
Yes.
And he was saying like, the rumors aren't actually true. Usually, I'm actually using 87% of my power, not 3%. And he's right. And then his eyes glow, and he says, "Your mistake was thinking my limit was 100." It was really, really funny. But yeah, that's cool. He goes and he like attacks Scorpion or something.
Yeah, and the intro animation to the new Mortal Kombat animated movie. Shaggy comes out and gets Scorpion in Ultra Instinct mode, and he's like,
yeah, good for Shaggy, good for him. Anyway, in more news, there was a trailer that dropped.
There was a trailer, the most watched trailer ever.
Wow,
That's what I saw.
okay, I mean it makes sense. There's a lot of stuff around it. Of course we're talking about Spider-Man No Way Home, a teaser trailer, right? It was a teaser trailer,
And it was like 3 minutes long.
yeah,
How is it a teaser?
I
if
don't
it's 3
understand how
minutes?
that's a teaser, but whatever.
Then
right?
the normal trailer's going to come out. It's going to be like 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
It's not even going to show Tom Holland. Anyway, the trailer came out. What do you think?
So here's the problem. People are going nuts for this trailer. Nuts. Like, they're like, oh, OMG, 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 OMG. This is so great.
Yes.
And then there's me and you.
And plenty of others. In
Yeah,
fairness.
probably. Who are like, okay.
Yeah.
And?
It's so... I remember seeing a tweet about someone taking a screen grab from the trailer and them being like, how can people say Marvel movies look flat? Have you seen this shot? And it's just like a shot of Peter in the Iron Spider armor like on top of a car. And I was like, because it's flat as fuck. What do you want me to tell you? And it's like, just because there's a rainbow in it doesn't mean it's like interesting, framing. you
Yeah.
know? It looked bad to me. Like I know it's a teaser trailer, right?
I wasn't very impressed either.
It was bad, and the Doc Ock reveal, of of course from Spider-Man 2, the Sam Raimi film.
Yep.
Showing up at the end and going, "Hello, Peter."
That was good.
Oh yeah.
I think so.
Did you see that meme?
Oh, there's a meme.
Well, there's a meme where he comes out of the smoke and he goes, "What? Infinity Stones? Thanos? Peter, wake up. It's 2004. I'm going to throw a fucking car at you."
That's funny.
And his reveal is like literally he's just standing there. You don't even see his arms attached to him. They just come out of the smoke and then he like appears. I don't think you even see them attached to him.
I don't know.
And then he just says, "Hello, Peter." And it's like a completely basically black smoke background. And he's just like sitting there with the little black glasses.
And he's CGI.
And he's CGI. And it's like, you could have at least done something. Like, he has arms. You could have made him like hanging from something, or like have something in the background that's like Doc Ock related.
Yeah.
Like do anything kind of interesting with the characters, like motifs.
Yeah.
But instead it's just he comes out of smoke.
Yeah. And then the other thing that got me was at the end of the last movie, it's obviously revealed who Peter Parker is.
Yes, he is.
Not who Peter Parker is, who Spider-Man is.
Right.
Spider-Man
Well,
is Peter Parker.
It goes both ways.
Right. And I was like, oh, okay, that could be interesting in the next movie. But
And then this movie
literally in this trailer,
They
like one of the first things they show is he's like, we're reversing this with Doctor Strange magic. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
right. It's like, okay, we could have done.
I want to see like
I guess
the
it's an
things.
okay excuse.
I mean, yeah, it's fine. I get it. Doctor Strange does magic. Sure.
Yeah, and I see him being the one to be like arrogant and being like, "Oh yeah, I can do this, no problem, kid," and wanted to like show
Yeah,
off.
I get it, but it's just not what I would want to see.
Yeah, and I don't know. It does just seem like a weird excuse for the whole thing, to the multiverse thing to
Yeah.
kick off. You think it'd be something more important.
Right. It almost feels like there was no reason for him to be revealed as
Yeah,
Peter
they
Parker.
could have just made it something else.
Yeah, there could have been another reason.
Yeah, but that's not a huge deal. It's just a little kind of a nitpick, I would say, depending on how it actually goes down in the film, like what the ending of the movie is.
Right.
So you also get to see a Green Goblin bomb show up, like just his bomb.
Right. And I
shows
think there
up.
was like a Sandman thing too.
Oh, maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. I only watched it once, and I just read Twitter for a little bit.
Oh, okay, well, yeah, because we already know that it's at least Green Goblin, Doc Ock, and I think Electro from the Amazing Spider-Man is supposed to show up.
Right.
So we know that, and then at this point, I mean, it's all but footage of the other two Spider-Men.
Right. That would be cool.
If Miles shows up,
That would be cool.
that would actually be like, wow.
Like,
really?
hold on, like a live action Miles, or would they put in like
Spider-Verse
Miles and
Miles.
he's like animated? in
And
it?
that would be like, wow.
That would be really cool.
It would be, but what are the chances they do that? 0?
They could bring all of them. They could bring Miles. They could bring Anime Spider. What's hers?
I don't know. It's some sort of.
They
Like,
could do
mech
Spider
thing.
Gwen, Spider Noir, Spider Pig. That would be sick if they all rolled up
Spider-Man
and
2099.
they were all animated.
Yeah,
That would be
sick.
cool. That would be cool.
You do have to wonder if they're gonna use this as an excuse for another Spider-Man, because I mean, Tom Holland has his 3 movies now.
Tom
Holland. I don't know what he said about portraying the character for however long, because I mean they could milk the cow for literally forever.
Right.
You know, of Spider-Man, because Spider-Man has so many villains that like it's ridiculous. So who knows? Maybe they would use this as an excuse to be like, "Oh, look, this is." Well, they already have a Miles Morales because they put Prowler in Homecoming. Because it was
In
Aaron
Homecoming or Far From Home?
Homecoming. Yeah, because remember it's Donald Glover. Remember he's at the car and he's like, "Hey, that was Homecoming, right?"
You're asking me the wrong person.
And he's like, "Hey, I need to pick up my little nephew."
That's Prowler?
Yeah, it's Aaron, whatever his name is.
Oh.
Remember Prowler from?
I know who
Pittsburgh,
Prowler is,
yeah.
but I didn't know that Donald Glover was supposed to be Prowler in that movie. I didn't know.
Yeah, I think so. And so they already set that up for one. So it's not like they could use this to introduce a live action Miles, or at least if they did, it wouldn't really make much sense. So I don't know.
I don't know.
Do you think that this movie is gonna have further reaching repercussions than the other 2, as far as the cinematic universe goes? Because if he really is supposed to be, you know, the new Iron Man stand-in, which a lot of people are upset about, and I can't say I'm that happy about it either. You know what?
I don't know. Yes, probably. Well, because we already know that there's the Doctor Strange multiverse of madness. So if this movie like creates the multiverse, then I guess yeah, it'll be pretty important.
Yeah.
But as far as like Spider-Man himself, I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
I'm exhausted.
I never liked this Spider-Man that much to begin with, from the very start.
Funny thing, actually, this has nothing to do with Spider-Man, but it has to do with Marvel. Shang-Chi just came out, and I know some big spoilers for Shang-Chi, if you want to know.
Do we want to spill? Everyone in chat, vote now. 1 for yes, 2 for no. Well, I'm seeing a lot of ones.
Yeah, a lot of ones.
Ones. There's a 3. What does that mean?
Huge, like literally gigantor spoilers for Shang-Chi. If you care about Shang-Chi, just skip ahead like a minute.
Yeah, we won't talk about it long.
So basically, I saw that it's revealed in Shang-Chi that the real Mandarin is like gonna be like, I guess, one of like the main villains for like this act of Marvel.
Wait a second. Whoa.
Like the real
whoa.
Mandarin.
That is actually really important for reasons that go beyond movie
I don't know.
universe.
That's just what
Because
I saw.
I heard that there was a big deal with China not wanting to have anything to do with this character of Shang-Chi because of that villain and it being sort of like a racist stereotype when it was conceived.
Oh, I
You
don't
know? So I was told that Marvel was like, "Oh no, that person's just in case somebody like with the spoilers or whatever. That person's not in this movie at all." And they're like, "Okay, but if you're saying that, then they're like lying."
That's just something I saw on the internet.
Right. Cuz you remember in Iron Man 3, they had the character but it was a fake out. It was just like
Right.
an actor or whatever. So that's interesting that they'd be doing that. But okay, sure.
So somebody go see Shang-Chi because we're not going to do it. I don't think anyway.
I don't know anything about that character, that villain, really. Other than I was previously under assumption that it was Doctor Strange kind of adversary.
Interesting.
But I'm not certain on that.
Okay. Well, that means they'd be pretty powerful.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Someone go see the movie. Add us on Twitter. Email us. Let us know if we were right or if I was right. It's not me being right. It's just if I was informed correctly.
Yeah, sure. Informed responsibly.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
Movie looks bad.
not very.
not
exciting.
Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi looks fine.
Yeah, apparently it's good. People seem
like
to have
so
liked
that's
it.
great. But the Spider-Man movie doesn't look good to me. But I never liked Spider-Man, so who cares? He just why can't he punch somebody? When was the last time that Spider-Man punched somebody? He just I don't know. That's stupid, but I want to see him throw a punch. Spider-Man.
I don't know what to say to that.
I think he punched Thanos, and that's like it.
Well, he did like flying kick with a
Yeah, and he does
teleport.
the webs, and he does the whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of Spider-Man,
Okay.
Venom.
Venom.
Let there be carnage.
Boo.
Follows formula with a PG-13
Boo.
rating.
We want the director's cut R rating, like in Batman vs Superman and
Yes.
Justice League. We want the
Please.
Snyder cut.
It is weird when you take a film that is the character's like a mass serial killer, as far as I know. Carnage, Cassidy, whatever his name is, I forget. Cletus Cassidy, I think.
Cletus. Anybody named Cletus is bound to be a murderer.
Right. And it's gonna be a PG-13 kind of fest.
Lame.
You'd want to see him tear into people and have them explode into bits and whatever. That'd be kind of like
Yes.
that'd be giving the villain the kind of gravitas that this psychopath I feel like would deserve. But who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe they could be creative with it, because you don't necessarily need like blood and gore to be vicious. You know, it helps, but you can definitely pull it off. Do I think they'll pull it off? No, but you
Yeah.
can.
Well, it's just weird because I don't even know why they would do it, because we already know that the R-rated superhero movies are successful.
Right. It's something that's already
We've
been
already
kind
had
of
like multiple
established.
R-rated, extremely hyper-violent Marvel movies that have made millions
Successful.
and millions and millions of dollars.
I think all the Marvel movies would be better. Where is the NC-17 Venom? Let there be carnage.
Somewhere.
You know, I don't know. It's right, because Deadpool, Logan, Joker, right there is huge numbers for those movies.
Right,
you know?
yeah.
But they just want to play it safe, I guess, which is so weird because this is already so separate from the higher Marvel
Yeah.
that if they even wanted to experiment bringing it into, I mean, I don't know if they'd ever bring it into regular Marvel, you know, but
Yeah.
since it's this little offshoot, you kind of had your hopes up. But now, sadly, they decided no.
Interesting. Yeah, whatever. You win some, you lose some. I'll still see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna see this one.
Damn you.
Which is so interesting when you think of everyone excited for, you know what? Just since we talked about that, it's honestly surprising to me that there isn't like a bigger counterculture to Marvel movies, and it's already like pretty big. But to me, most of the opposition to it comes from like movie lovers. To me, most of it I see
Yeah.
is people who like movies tend to not like the Marvel movies as much as like your everyday person who will see a movie every once in a while, you know?
Right.
I expected at some point for there to be like a nerd counter clash, like comic book nerd people who were like the OG people back then, to eventually get fed up and be like, oh my gosh, they made fun of me and now they want to go see Captain America. Ugh. In my day, he was a B hero.
Everyone wants to go to Comic-Con now.
Yeah. I honestly expected like a counterculture of being like, I reject the superheroes now because now it's popular.
That's its own villain origin story.
Yeah, it could be.
Like Syndrome from The Incredibles.
Yeah, or Titan from Megamind.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Megamind.
That's a good parallel. But honestly, it has surprised me that really most of the main criticism comes from people who seem to appreciate film by the majority. I don't know. Did you have any kind of take on that? Like, do you agree or?
I do agree, actually.
Yeah.
When you brought it up, I was like, wow, I guess I never really thought about it like that. Yeah, there should be.
Yeah.
We are creating the I don't
The coalition of I don't know.
the National Coalition of Anti-Marvel NCOM, NCOM,
See, I was trying to
NCOM.
do like a
Coam.
coalition of understanding new types of cinema, but cinema spelled with a S.
So what would it say?
Cunts.
That's better.
Yeah.
That's better.
There we go.
We got it.
Anyway, superheroes, they're dumb. You know what else is dumb?
Game of Thrones. No, I'm just kidding.
George R. R. Martin's latest distraction is a short film starring and directed by Vincent
I love the title of this article.
D'Onofrio.
Latest distraction. It's so true.
The wait for the next Game of Thrones book keeps getting longer. So he's doing this. Obviously, we know he was doing Elden Ring. Right?
He's done with that though.
But
that
yeah,
was
that's-
apparently it was revealed that he has very little, not little, but like he basically for Elden Ring built he built like the world and the mythology, but Miyazaki is like actually writing the lore and like the story of the game. So he just kind of built like the foundation, and he did that apparently like 3 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So he has got like,
So he's
nothing to do with
really had a lot of distractions. If that was 3
Yes.
years ago, he's really been having
like yes.
a lot on his plate. Well, okay.
Awesome. You know what? I'm about 1/8 through the 5th book, A Dance with Dragons. And when I'm done with that, I'll be on the same page as everybody else, just waiting for the Winds of Winter. So maybe I'll take my time with this one, but it's pretty good, so I might not.
Be prepared to wait.
I will.
I mean, it's not happening, guys. Let's all admit it now. Do you want to make a bet?
A bet if he releases Winds of Winter, just Winds of Winter, or finish, because there's 2 more books.
Yes, I know. I don't know. It could be
How old is he?
because he's like 100.
No, he's not.
I'm pretty sure he's literally like in his 70s.
How old is George R.R. Martin? Oh
Yeah,
my
he's
gosh,
72.
He's 72.
I knew it, dude. I'm telling you. And he's not like healthiest
yeah,
looking.
he's not the
guy.
healthiest person, it seems.
It would appear. And I don't know, because the question is, will the books ever release, or will they release before he dies? You know what I mean? Because he could die, and then someone could come in, get his manuscripts, and like edit them and finish them up. You know, but that's not really exactly the same, is it? What are you looking at?
I was just like, if I looked up how old is George R. R. Martin. The people also ask, will George R. R. Martin ever finish? Will Winds of Winter ever be released? Is George R. R. Martin in good health?
Yeah, everyone's clamoring.
Jeez.
Anyway, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but Attack on Titan Final Season Part 2 to premiere in January 2022. The series will also have a special episode before it returns. Okay.
Oh, really? Like a beach episode?
The series will debut a new animated special ahead of the new season's release. The special episode will follow characters like Levi, Annie, and Mikasa as they recap the events that have happened so far and look ahead at what's to come. Okay.
That's okay, whatever. Sure,
I didn't
Nappa, do your thing.
I didn't see Rico in there, so I'm not really that interested in that.
Rico.
Also my favorite penguin from Madagascar.
Right.
Yeah.
Rico.
Exactly. It's really similar to how she is in this anime too.
Kowalski.
Okay.
Analysis.
I'm sorry to derail us to that, but that's all we're talking about. Yep.
I'm hyped.
January 2022.
If you're not hyped, it's probably because you haven't seen the show, which means that you should watch the show, and then you can get hyped, because this will be, I mean, I know that they said it the last time for part 1, but since this is the end, this will be the biggest thing ever in anime ever.
Okay. That is kind of scary considering that people are divided on the ending, but we'll see. I do not have any expectations
We'll see what people think. I'm excited.
either way of liking or not liking. Code Geass has kind of made me feel like, I don't know,
I will say,
interested.
people,
You should watch Code Geass before the anime ends so we can talk about both of them.
okay, that's fair.
That's a good idea.
People don't like, or they didn't like, everyone was on board for the most part, 98% on board with AOT until literally the final chapter of the manga.
Oh.
That's when a lot of people were like, okay, what is happening? So that will most likely happen with most of the anime, or like half and half anime watchers. Like most, half will be like, this is terrible, and half will probably be like, no, I liked it.
And totally concealed to the last episode.
Probably.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the first 14, 15 episodes, people are going to be like, oh, this is the greatest show ever.
Right.
And then we'll see what happens at the end, unless some people still are on that copium, hoping for MAPPA to do an anime original ending, which is an interesting thing because, hold your thought, remember, because, what's his face? Who the heck? Hajime Isayama has said that the show is like more canon than the manga.
What?
That's what I've seen.
Interesting.
So like, there's obviously things that happen in the show that don't happen in the manga, but the show is like the final say, apparently.
Wow. I mean, really, that means nothing, but...
And we know that he was like rushed and kind of pushed, and even possibly has like changed his original ending for the show. So maybe if you're really reaching,
my thought
there could be, but I'm not thinking that.
I would literally always be in support of a different ending for a different medium because it's different. It's
Right.
more stuff. You can always read the manga. You can always watch the show. And if it's really concealed to just the ending, then I don't see why it's a big deal because it's not like you have to read the whole manga. You could just read the end of the manga and be like, yeah, okay, different.
Yeah.
That makes me want... I kind of want somebody to do that on like purpose, like release like a book, a video game, a movie, and and just make them all have different endings.
That would be cool.
That would actually be like a neat idea. Why wouldn't you want new stuff for the universe, And then you pick which one you like.
Exactly.
And you say this one's real because none of it's real.
Right.
Yeah, that's exciting.
that'd be
I hope that happens. I think that'll be because really, if something as high profile as Attack on Titan did it, it would really open the door for a lot of other things to do it as well.
Right.
And I mean, if things can cut shit out for content, it's like
Why
I don't
not
see
add?
why not add.
But I'm just saying 95% chance won't happen.
Right. That is understood.
So don't get your hopes up.
Speaking of anime, sort of. Netflix's Cowboy. How do you pronounce that?
Bebop. Bebop.
Bebo?
Bebop. Bebop. Bebop.
Cowboy Bebo. Live action series sets premiere date.
Cowboy.
John Cho as Spike Spiegel unveiled in first look images. I think it looks good.
So I don't know if it's just
November 19th, by the way.
right, November 19th, which is very close.
Mm-hmm.
My thing with the images that they shared, I looked at most of them. I don't know if it's just if that's what the show is going to look like, or if these are just like pictures they took. Because
on set or whatever.
yes,
Yeah.
Because I think that the show looks very, or at least the color palette looks very stale, and that was one of the best things about the anime was the color.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just doesn't look very vibrant.
It looks very like CWE,
Okay.
Like it looks like a cable show.
Yeah. So I'm hoping these are just like someone was taking pictures.
Right, which it very well could be. Like they're just literally promotional photography.
Yeah. But I think everybody looks cool.
Yeah, I think the casting, I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
You know,
Also, there's one thing.
the dog is perfect.
Ed, where is Ed? Ed is not in any of the pictures.
That's
I
true.
don't know if Ed is not going to be in the show or what the deal is with Ed.
Yeah, we don't. I guess I don't know. It's just,
So that's my thing, because we see Faye and Spike and like what the heck is it, Jet, but there's no Ed, and that we have the dog, and the thing is Ed and the dog are like a thing.
cutie. Dog's perfect casting. I would say the dog definitely looks the best. I'm serious. That's
Well, all they
perfect
needed to
dog.
do was just get a corgi. So
Well, they did a good job. Could you imagine if they got like a German Shepherd? They were like, we just wanted to take it a different direction.
that'd be funny.
That would be fun.
So we'll see. I don't. Netflix hasn't landed an anime adaptation yet, right?
A
live
Death Note
action
was
one?
great.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, that's just what I heard.
So we'll see. This one's a series, so it's a little different.
That is different.
I don't know. To be honest, I have no expectations. I'm going to watch it, but I'm not excited for it.
I don't even know if I'm gonna watch it. I mean, I just said I would like things that were new and different, but they also still have to be good. But who knows? It's up in the air, really.
It is.
It's
up in the air.
entirely up in the air.
We'll see. Maybe it's great.
Maybe it's great.
Okay, take it away. You were excited.
This is kind of
about
me
this.
news. Well, because I want to make it a point now. I think now is the time, because I spoke about it even when we did our Oscars/Staggies episode, where I was just talking up Christopher Abbott. I think he is fantastic, and I think he's on the up. And this is just proof to that point. And I just want to call out now that right now he is like, my MVP. I'm rooting for him. I want to see him do bigger and better stuff. I want him to be very successful because I think he is talented.
Okay.
Yes. Christopher Abbott joins Emma Stone in Yorgos Lanthimos' adaptation of Poor Things for Searchlight and Film 4. So it's going to be him, Emma Stone, I think Willem Dafoe, Mark Ruffalo, and Remy Youssef are all
Nice.
going to be in it too. Yeah.
Sounds cool.
I'm just glad. I had to add it because this is my dude now.
That's cool. And Yorgos makes cool movies. He hasn't made a movie that I have not enjoyed.
I'm sticking with this guy, and I'm telling you guys, be on the lookout because he's coming. I'm serious.
He's coming.
He's coming for your throat, Hollywood. He's going to be on top. He's going to be the next, I don't know. He's going to be the next famous Chris. People are going to be like, oh, Chris Pratt, Chris Pine, Chris Hemsworth, Christopher Abbott.
Christopher or Chris?
Well, he's probably going to stick with Christopher because Christopher Abbott kind of has a nice Chrissy. Come on, Christopher Abbott. I got your back, dude. Let's do it. Let's go to the top.
Wonder if he likes gabagool.
Oh, look at him. He's gotta.
He loves gabagool.
Who doesn't love gabagool? Apparently, it's uncool to like The Sopranos anymore.
Why? Who said that? Hold on. Is this more news?
Twitter, of course.
I think I saw a thing where someone was like, The Sopranos is an overrated show, and everyone, it had like a bunch of likes, and everyone was like, you know what? You're so right.
Yeah.
And I was like, shut the fuck up. You're stupid.
Hey, we just got in The Sopranos, so we're allowed to be doing the stupid jokes because we just got there.
Yeah,
You
we
know?
can make the gabagool and the Chris and the hey.
Oh. T. Look, T.
Come on, T. That was
You
terrible.
just go around and pity for yourself. Yeah. And then he's like, my restaurant. It's a good show.
It's a good show.
I like how when we talked about the show, we're like, wow, the roles of like masculinity and how racism plays. And then when we're not talking about the show,
It's just memes.
Gabagool.
Because it's so funny.
It is. It's
for
very,
no
very
reason.
funny.
Gabagool.
It's nice.
Over here.
Oh, yeah. That does it for the news. For the Gabba news. For the Yo Gabba Gabba.
The yo gabba gabagool.
That's got to be made already. That means it's Spotlight time.
Spotlight.
Spotlight. Where we're talking about some Japanese films. And yeah, maybe we learned a little bit about Japan watching these films. I think the one thing I know about Japan is that Kit Kats are very popular. I might be wrong. I'm just saying.
Love Kit Kats. Great. Give me a piece of that Kit Kat bar.
Kit Kats are very popular because how they say thank you in Japanese is kitokatsu. It's thank you.
Oh,
so you can be like,
nice.
oh, here's a kitokat. And it's kitokatsu.
Thanks.
Yeah. And then I also heard KFC is very popular around Christmas.
KFC.
KFC is like the Christmas dinner. And those
Honestly,
are
KFC's great. If anyone doesn't like
things.
KFC, kindly unsubscribe.
those are the only two things I know about Japan. I think it's an island.
It is. It's Big Island.
Yeah, it's a pretty big island.
Big Island.
Yeah. Apparently it's got a desert.
Can you believe it?
Right?
I was like, wow, that's a desert.
That's one thing we learned from Woman in the Dunes from 1964.
1964. Crazy. That's a long time ago.
That is directed by
Directed by
Hiroshi
Teshigahara.
Teshigahara. We'll try our best with these names. We think we got them,
I
but
think we got him down.
who knows?
This is the IMDb description of Women in the Dunes. An entomologist on vacation is trapped by local villagers into living with a woman whose life task is shoveling sand for them.
10 out of 10 description. That
Honestly,
is
that's exactly what the movie
is.
about. Exactly.
An entomologist, of course, is somebody who studies
Bugs. Buggies. You got little buggy friends.
Yeah, he's just like and So that's how it starts. He's literally just digging through the sand, and he's like, "Wow, I hate passports." And then some guys are like, "Do you want to sleep in our village?" And he goes, "Sure."
It's like, oh, thanks,
Thanks
guys.
you.
That's
And
super
they're like,
nice.
climb down this rope ladder into this like 30-foot deep pit. And he's like, "Okay." And he does it, and then they pull the ladder up. And he's like, "Hold on a second.
He's like, wait, guys.
I don't know about this." And then it's 2 hours of like some of the most beautiful sand photography
Oh
that
my
I've ever
gosh.
seen. Like,
Guys.
forget Lawrence of Arabia. This movie
This is
like,
the movie.
wow.
This is the sand movie.
Yeah. If you really need a movie that's just like, I want to feel like I have sand on me.
Yes.
This movie.
I hope Denis Villeneuve has seen this film and studied it
honestly-
extensively for Dune.
Honestly, that would be fantastic if that happened.
Because, wow, just looking at the sand, you wouldn't think it would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But it is.
Sometimes it was my favorite parts.
Yeah,
where
you'd be like, wow,
they
look at
would-
that
they'd be
grain. That's a
fading
really
to
nice.
sand, and I'd be like, wow.
Look at that.
Or they do like the crossfades where it's the sand and it's going both ways and it makes like X's, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going
Wow.
crazy.
Look at this. Look at that sand.
Highlight of the film is all the sand photography. Of course, it's
Absolutely.
a black and white film, so the light's playing a big part in it, and I mean
Right.
that helps. I mean, it's still just like absolutely drop dead gorgeous. And so he finds this woman, and they're living here, and she's basically like, yeah, we gotta shovel the dirt. They're in a pit, in a shack in a pit. They can't climb out because it's all sand, and if they try to climb it, it just falls.
Right. And the sand constantly is like falling
Yeah,
all
it's
the time.
constantly
So that's
falling.
why they have to dig.
So they have to dig. When they go to sleep at night, they'll wake up and they're like half buried in sand.
yeah.
You know, they constantly have to dig, and the guys throw down a bucket and they do it into the bucket because they give like a very short explanation, but apparently like the guys who put them there are like selling the sand for cheap
Yeah.
for like construction purposes or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're keeping them there captive. They have no whatever. If they don't work, they don't get water, stuff like that. So they're totally trapped.
Yeah. No escape.
And the woman is like,
Sure.
yeah, okay. My husband and daughter are dead. They like died here, so like I think I'll just hang out and I'll just keep shoveling dirt. And I think the question is even posed because the man is the exact opposite. He's like, I need to get out.
Like, yeah, we need to leave. I have a life.
And I think he even asks, he's like, are you shoveling to survive or are you surviving to shovel at this point? You
Yeah.
know? It's like, which way is this working? And it causes a lot of stress between them, but they also grow a bond because they are stuck in the same situation. I would say, just because I'm thinking of the eroticism of the film, it is like an erotic thriller.
Yeah,
is how
kinda,
I
yeah.
would kind of describe it. Because there's a scene early on, like after the first night, where he wakes up and she's asleep naked, and the sand is like kind of draping her body, and that was very beautiful. And there's a lot of close-ups of like sandy throats.
Oh
and
my
stuff.
dude.
It makes you feel parched, and you're just like,
Yeah.
oh, I need to get it off of me. A lot of that kind of stuff going on, and the thing that really stuck with me the most, and I think was maybe imagery-wise like the best, was just the idea of texture in this film. You really got a sense for all of the textures, because
Yeah.
when you would see the grimy bodies and then it would open up to a pail of clear water, you were just like,
You were
oh
like,
my god.
Yes.
And you'd have that kind of, there's a scene where they end up getting together, and you have the man who's covered in the sand, and you have the woman's being washed and having soft, supple skin, and it's just that juxtaposition of like the two textures, the two mindsets, everything about that just worked like tremendously well to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously throughout the film they grow together kind of.
They try their best.
And then the man figures out, I don't know what the science is behind
Yeah,
it.
it was something about evaporating water causing it to like swell up in the bucket,
Yeah.
and he could get his own water
Yeah,
source.
he figures out how to get his own water.
So they
and he's
didn't
"This
need
is
the
so
men
great.
anymore. Yeah.
He's like, this is fantastic. And then the villagers do this really cruel thing to them where they like, why I don't even remember why, but
They
they
ask
all come around.
the man asks, "Hey, I'm not going to run away," because he does attempt to run away at one point, but he gets caught because he gets trapped in quicksand, and they send him back.
Right.
And then near more the end of the film, he asks like, "Hey, I'm not going to run away, but please just let me see the sea."
Yeah, I want to
Just
see
let me
the
out of the
ocean.
pit for like 30 minutes. And they say, okay, we'll do it, but you got to show us some action with you and the lady.
Yeah.
And they all get around and they all start hooting
They
and
have
hollering.
like, I mean, they're surrounded by like 100 people.
Yeah, they're surrounded and they have all got weird like Mad Max clothing on.
Yeah, and they're like yelling and screaming.
And the guy is like, well, he attempts to rape her.
Yeah.
And that happens and she's still fighting it. And it's kind of like a almost reversal of like the roles where at first the guy you would see as the civilized one. And then by this point it's the woman who you're like, whoa, you know. It was a very uncomfortable thing to watch, you know, with all the people hollering as well.
Yeah.
You're just like, wow, this place is like even more messed up somehow than I thought.
Right, yeah.
You know, it was like, wow, this is even worse. And then eventually by the end of the film, you find out that she is pregnant,
Prego.
but it is, I forget the phrase for it.
I know it. I don't know, but it's basically the baby is growing outside of the uterus, which is bad.
Yeah, the baby's just being born in the wrong place and it will kill her if they don't
So they have to
solve
fix
it.
it.
So they like go down there, they grab the woman and they take her off and they forget to bring up the rope ladder at the end.
So you're like,
Like, oh my gosh, she's gonna
Wow.
do it. And he does climb up, I believe, or at least he thinks about climbing up. It's a little unclear. And just kind of looks around and he goes back down the hole and he goes to his little watering hole that he discovered and he says, not today. I'll escape tomorrow because this watering hole is too important. It's my own thing that I have here
yep.
and whatever. And then the movie ends with like a police report that he's been missing for the last 7 years. And so, you know, he just stayed in the hole, I guess.
He just loved that
In the
water.
pit. He was there with the water. And really, so it's a man being stuck in a pit. And if he doesn't shovel, not only will his house collapse, but all the houses next to him will all collapse because there's like a bunch of pits, which you don't get to see, but people talk about them. So it's this burden of society to work until you die, basically, you know,
Yep.
kind of idea. By people who, you know, really are using it for profit, and you don't really know what their deal kind of is.
Yeah, they're just weirdos.
They're just like weirdos, which, you know, it might sound kind of familiar to like anybody alive.
right.
And it's very effective because you have, you know, at the beginning of the movie, him being like, I need to get out of the pit, and her having just be like, yeah, the pit's fine. I can do this. Just the complacency of it all, you know? And then by the end of it, I love the ending of this film. I really thought
very
it was
good.
tremendous because it's the idea of him. It's kind of the way I took it is that the pit, in actuality, in his case, was inescapable. If he would have climbed out, he would have just got taken back in because he already did try once. And so he chose to find meaning in the pit of trying to find his own value outside of like the system that he was in. And that was this little watering hole. And I don't know what that means to say, as in, like, obviously he's still in the pit.
Right.
You know, if it goes that far of being like, your accomplishments don't mean anything still, even if you value them. I don't know if it goes that far. I'm not sure I necessarily took it that far, but it's definitely another added kind of layer
kind of like
to
it's
it.
kind of like Stockholm syndrome thing.
Right, exactly. And is the value you find in the pit real value? That's
Right.
kind of the question that you just kind of got to ask yourself, because in the end you see him looking into the water and you can almost see his reflection, you know. I think it's a question that just needs to be posed to the viewer. Is the value you find at the bottom of the pit valuable? Is it worth it to you? And your answer is whatever it is.
If the sand looks that good all the time, yes.
Right, it's good looking sand.
Sand is nice.
It reminded me because at the beginning, other than the shots of like the paperwork that we get at the beginning, I don't know if you remember, but one of the very first shots, if not the first shot, is an extreme microscopic close up of sand.
Yeah, buddy.
And it's just the whole screen is basically like a few grains of sand, you know? And then it zooms out a little bit, zooms out until it's like you're looking at the ground. And I took that as almost when we got to the hill and he's trying to climb up the hill, it reminded me of like the myth of Sisyphus, I think, where he's got to roll the boulder up the hill, but it keeps rolling down, and that's just what he has to do for eternity.
Okay.
I thought with the imagery of that at the beginning, it's immediately what struck with me was that myth. And I thought, yeah, he's just working and working every night, but it keeps piling in and he gets nowhere.
Right.
You know, so I saw the kind of the dualness there.
I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Sisyphus.
I think it's Sisyphus. I could be wrong. There's a lot of names. All right, I don't remember them all.
Mythology is kind of crazy.
But it was cool, and I believe it was a novel first, and it was adapted into the movie.
Yeah, it's from Dune.
Yeah, Frank Herbert's famous novel.
This is what it was actually about.
It's actually about. But yeah, that I seriously recommend that, if not just for the photography.
Yeah, it was a pretty great movie. Can't lie.
Yeah, I didn't expect to like it as much as I did.
Yeah, well, I'm just really great at recommending things.
What is next?
We have a movie from one of the greatest filmmakers of all time, some might say.
Some might say.
Akira Kurosawa. Some might say this is his best movie. I don't know, because if I'm going to be 100% honest, we're going to talk about 2 Akira Kurosawa movies today, and they're the only 2 I've ever seen, and I just watched them this week.
Good. Well,
So
it's a good intro. We'll have to do an episode on him because he's made like 80 movies.
Absolutely. This movie is Ran from 1985. In medieval Japan, an elderly warlord retires, handing over his empire to his 3 sons. However, he vastly underestimates how the newfound power will corrupt them and cause them to turn on each other and him. And apparently, this movie is based off of Shakespeare's King Lear.
Yeah, I've never read King Lear, so I don't
Neither
know.
have I.
That could be a total lie, but I'm going to take it as truth.
Yep. I mean, most people say it, so if most people agree, then I would say.
Before we even talk about the movie, one of the reasons why this movie always comes to my mind is because basically the halfway point, there's just an amazingly fun to look at like battle scene, like siege scene.
Oh yeah.
Which is just like incredible, and it will stick with you like forever. Like, you know what I mean? You just look at it and you're like, wow, that's so cool. Because you have the Lord's like castle being sieged by like, well, his son's forces, you know.
Jiro.
And Jiro's forces. He dreams of sushi, if you know.
Well, there's Kuro, Jiro, and Saburo.
Taro. Yeah. Taro, Jiro,
Where did I
and
get
Saburo.
Kuro from?
I'm not sure. Kuro means shadow, I think. Or maybe it means crow. I don't know.
Taro and Jiro, they team up to attack
Taro is the
their
eldest.
dad.
Well, start the name. Taro's the eldest. We have Jiro's the middle kid, and
Right.
Sbarro, the Italian chain, is the youngest. And they're yellow, red, and blue. That's their colors. So if you see those, that's who you know they are.
Right.
And basically their father's old. He's the warlord. And he's like, guess what, Taro, you're going to take over, you know, the other 2 can have like these other 2 smaller castles, whatever. And it'll all be happy and peaceful, right?
No.
Then Taro is kind of like, Dad, you need to back off. You're like kind of still, you know, you don't have any power anymore. You need to like deal with that. And the dad gets kind of like, I'm uncomfortable with that because I don't think you make good decisions. Kind of second guessing himself a little bit. And then he's like, well, Dad, I don't care. I'm the boss now. You said so. Okay? I'm the eldest son and you're a crazy man. And he's like, I hate that. And he has a really funny like jester with him throughout the whole movie.
Yes.
Kiyoami.
Kiyoami,
Yeah,
I think that's how you say it.
And at first I hated him. I was like, I hate this character. But then I was like, wait, no, this guy's the best.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's in King Lear as well. Because I know Shakespeare has to like have Puck and stuff like that in his things. But yeah, he was hilarious by the end of it. And so basically, Jiro is like, guess what? I need to be in charge. I'm the only one who can. And it just starts a big interpersonal between the 3 sons and the father. Well, really, but like you said, Jiro and Taro team up. They're like, let's see, we're going to take over and
Subaru gets banished.
Exiled. Yeah, he's like, you don't respect my authority. You're exiled.
Banished.
To the father, the original father.
Right.
Well, here's the thing. Jiro, not the coolest guy.
He's not great.
He's not great. Taro gets killed.
He gets shot.
He gets shot
in the back.
And you know what that means. And
he's dead.
Yeah. And they're like, oh my gosh, Lady Kaeda, or I think was her name. It was like his wife.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so sorry. He's dead. I'm the boss now. Jiro says.
And she's like, perfect.
She's like, that's amazing. Great. I love that you're wearing my dead husband's armor like less than an hour after he died. That's awesome. Right? Who is your own brother.
I love this.
And the I want to say his name was Hidataro, the father warlord, the aging warlord, like we said. Hidataro.
I don't even know why we're
Hidetori?
saying this when we can just look.
We can look
We
it
can
up
just
right
look
there.
right
Yeah.
here. Right here. If the internet would work.
If the internet would work, we could find out in seconds.
Yep.
And
very cool. Lord Hidetora.
Hidetora.
Ichimonji.
Yeah, of the Ichimonji family.
Right.
And he's like got old person makeup on that gets like heavier and heavier as the movie goes on. It looks pretty sweet.
It's good. His hair towards the end of the movie is so
It's
funny.
like absolutely crazy. Yeah. And he's just got like the deepest, like grayest eyes. He's just freaking out.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he does basically go insane by the end of the film.
Yeah.
But he runs off with Rivers Cuomo and the Jester Man.
Kiyoami.
Yeah, I was making a joke. But it's
Okay.
whatever.
Sorry.
And where do they go first? Because it's actually been a second since I've seen this movie. So
They leave,
I'm surprised I remember as much as I do.
and they go to Taro's place.
Okay.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
go to Taro's place, and he's like, "What's up?" And he's like, "You are super annoying. Your people that you have with you, your guard, are super disrespectful and annoying. So you need to leave." And he's like, "I'm your father." And he's like, "Yeah, well, I'm the freaking lord of the land." And he's like, "Fine, whatever. I'm never gonna see you ever again." And he leaves, and then he goes to this other castle and is like, "I want to be in this castle." And they're like, "You know what? That's cool because we're leaving anyway." So they leave, and then he chills in that castle. And then it was an actual fake out the whole time. And that's when they get attacked. And that's where that like 25-minute
awesome
battle scene
Yeah, I'm
happens.
pretty sure it's like right in the halfway point of the
Yeah, it's
film,
right in the middle.
And it's you can just lay back and be like, wow, this looks great.
It's cool.
Yeah,
and it's awesome music plays, and it's just like,
And you have
how
like
did they do that?
hundreds of extras, because it's all like actual extras and everything. And it's just a fantastic look. When the flaming arrows are like flying behind him and everything, and he's just stoically
Yes,
because
he's sitting there, and they're just
I guess traditionally in that moment they say he's supposed to commit seppuku.
Yep.
Which is like when he takes the blade and he like cuts himself in the stomach.
Yep.
But he doesn't. He runs off.
He runs away,
And
he's like, "I'm gonna run away."
yeah, I mean, really, he does. He's like, I'm running away, and he runs
and they're
away.
just like, "Yeah, okay."
He's like, yeah, don't just let it. Whatever. He's like, Jiro, just don't worry about it.
So he runs away, and then he's in the middle of a field. It's him and Kiyoami, and then they meet. This was the one part of the movie that I was always confused
the blind
on.
guy.
Yeah, they meet the
Yeah.
blind guy who is apparently like a lord.
Yeah.
Who had he gouged his
Eyes out. The Lord Hidetora, yeah.
Yeah. And this was the one section of the movie that had me confused the whole time because the ending of the movie is like the blind guy, and I was just really confused. I don't know if you. Maybe
Well, I'm
got
pretty
more
sure
from
they
that,
were
but I was
supposed
like-
they were supposed to be a parallel of each other. That he was kind of the blind guy was supposed to end up being kind of like a good lord, where the father ended up being a bad one. I'm not sure if that's completely accurate, but that's just how I took it because of their fates at the end.
Right.
Because at the end of the film, Saburo. I don't know why I can remember the rest, but he is like, oh, I'm gonna take down with the help of the other lords, Lord Ayaba and whoever else. It's like, well, we're gonna take down Jiro. We're gonna finish it.
Yeah.
Because he wants to see his dad. Literally, he's just like, give me dad, and
I want.
that's
Daddy.
fine. He's like, hand him over, and we got no problems or whatever.
Yeah, and they're like, cool.
And they're like, well, we can't do that because then it'll make us seem weak or whatever. And Jiro's, he's got like a real war mindset, so he's always thinking that he's just trying to kill him at like every turn. So he's aggressive the whole time. And they end up having the battle, but they had a fake out where they only posted a few soldiers on a ridge. And so they got all their troops to meet him in battle, but really a lot of the force was actually going to the castle to attack the castle, to take it over. And you find out that Lady Kaeda was like, this was kind of her plan all along.
Yeah.
Was that she was like, this is revenge for my family. All I've ever wanted to see is this castle be destroyed. She's like, I finally achieved my life's mission. And then a guy just cuts her
and
up.
the coolest head chop off ever.
And it just sprays on
The
the back
blood
wall.
is like insane.
And at this point was the point of the movie. That was really close to the end, pretty close. And I was just thinking that, like, man, you could stop the movie like every 10 seconds, and it's like painting You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
That scene specifically where it was like a black outline because it was from outside the room looking in to the bright red on the walls. I was like, that's a painting right there.
Yeah.
And just seeing all the horses and everything, there's a lot of that.
My favorite in the whole movie is it's close to the end when there's like Jiro's army and then there's Subaru. Damn you.
Yeah. It's funnier that way. It's Jiro, Taro, and Sabaro, okay?
There's Jiro's army and Subaru's army, and then on the two like cliffs, they're like in this valley, and then on the two like giant hills, they have these other two armies that are just kind of there to kind of support Subaru, but like not actually intervene really unless they need to. And there's this awesome shot where Subaru's people are like standing at like on this mountain, and then it's like way back and they're standing there, and then like I'm talking at least 10 miles in the distance there's this other huge mountain, and the whole other army just like comes up and like stands on the mountain. You can like see other flags and stuff, and the sun is like setting, and
they do a chant at one point too.
yeah, they're like because they beat them in the battle.
they
They have a cool plan to hide in the trees.
Yeah.
And they're like,
they've got guns. This is also where it's kind of where people were still fighting with swords and arrows, but also guns at this point.
Right. Lots of guns.
So you got a lot of that, which is really cool. I would say that did the opening and some of the part with the guns, but specifically the opening, if you remember how it really opened, made me think of Princess Mononoke immediately because it was a boar hunt at the beginning.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is just like that. That's immediately what it made me think of. But yeah, at the end, Subaru finds his father and he's like, hey, it's okay. I love you. You know,
and he's like, wow,
he's the one who exiled him. And he's like, oh, wow, this is fantastic. Let's go ride a horse and go home. He's like, that's a great idea.
Oh, no. Jiro's men sneak attack.
Yeah, he sent out an assassin and
he gets shot.
And he falls off his horse. And the dad is so bereft with grief that he dies as well. And
you can tell that Shakespeare wrote this.
Right. And they're just like, man, this sucks. That's too bad that everybody's dead and everything went wrong.
And then the blind guy like stands on a cliff and like drops a picture of Buddha.
Yeah.
And then he just like stands there and then the movie ends.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was meaning, I think his name was Tsurugi.
Okay.
I wasn't, well, I guess we could find out, but I don't know if that means because he was a lord, like you said, if that would mean that because all the other lords are basically dead, that he would come back into some sort of power, you know, or not. I don't know, but he was really good on that flute. Surumaru, okay. He was really good on that flute.
He was good on the flute.
Very good on the flute.
He was a flute mastermind. He was like,
I mean, you don't need eyes to do a flute.
Nope, you just need breath and fingers, I guess.
Fingers would help. Unless you get Michael Fassbender to do the fingering for you.
That could happen.
Alien Covenant, come on.
I know. No, I know what you were talking about.
But in that case, you'd have to be Michael Fassbender as well. So does it really count?
Ron was a really cool movie. The thing, though, is I see a lot of people were like, this is Akira Kurosawa's best. And that kind of makes me sad because I really liked it. I thought it was really great. But now I'm like, well, hopefully, to me, it's not the best because I still have to see the rest of his work.
I think with
starting with the best, I don't know.
When you do older films as well, you need to consider the time period as well. This is 1985. You know, so a lot of this on that scale, and I mean, it is just absolutely, it's beautiful a lot of the time.
It is wonderful.
You know, it's very nice looking, and but yeah, I can understand that you wouldn't think. I don't know if that is the reigning consensus that it is the best one, but I know it's up there.
The other one would be Seven Samurai.
Because that's one I always hear referred to as his best.
Right. I was just reading a lot of reviews on this one, and people were like, this is the culmination of all of the things he's mastered throughout his work.
Well, maybe technically it's his best film.
Could be.
But, you know, just entertainment value, maybe perhaps it's not.
Also, Seven Samurai is like 3 hours and 40 minutes.
I haven't seen it.
Just going to have to get around to that sometime.
At some point. It might have to wait till our Akira Kurosawa episode. But again, I'm pretty sure he's made literally like almost 100 movies. So
that's great.
We'll have to pick and choose a couple.
Yeah.
But next, only 3 years later, I think?
In 88, we have a super happy, fun movie about two kids. It's called Grave of the Fireflies. You know that song by Owl City about the fireflies?
Oh,
based off of this movie.
If I don't believe my eyes, with 10 million fireflies.
That's close.
You would not.
You would not believe your eyes. 10 million fireflies.
They steal my food and I starve to death.
Yeah. Great with Fireflies. This is the description here. A young boy and his little sister struggled to survive in Japan during World War II. That's pretty good.
Yeah, directed by Isao Takahata, I believe.
Yes. This
How
is
do you
an
say it?
animated movie.
It is animated. It is a Ghibli movie.
Ghibli.
Mm-hmm. So
This-
you just saw this.
I did just see this. This might be one of the most depressing movies ever.
It's pretty depressing. I remember back when I watched it. I believe I watched it right around when we did a Ghibli episode.
Okay.
And I read that like the true story, because this is based off a true story, is
That
like
makes it worse.
even sadder.
Oh my gosh.
Or at least it doesn't accentuate. It does show it, but it doesn't really accentuate what the guy felt from the whole situation with him and his sister.
Right.
But I'll get back into that a little bit later, I guess, if you just want to.
So basically, what happens in this movie is this family lives in Japan. There's a bombing raid on the city that they live in, so they have to go to the shelter.
Mm-hmm.
The kids are like, "Mom, you go to the shelter. We'll be there in a second, or whatever." So there's the main kid who's like, I think he's 14,
Yeah,
or
very
like
young,
12 or
whatever.
something, and then his little sister who's like 4 years old,
Yes,
little tiny kid.
cannot care for herself,
And him and her are like running there, but they're too late, and they have to like basically survive like the bomb, like the fire bombs, like destroying their cities or whatever. They end up surviving. They get to where they need to be, and they're like, "Where's our mom at?" And then the one lady's like, "Hey, your mom, she got hurt. She got a lot more than hurt.
Yeah.
She got totally eviscerated, basically,
Yeah.
and she's totally burned completely head to toe." And he's like, "Well, this sucks." And then the mom dies.
And so they go to live with their aunt.
Yes.
Or so, yeah, some sort of relative, and it's not a great place for them.
No, their aunt's kind of a mean bitch.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a certain extent, because obviously there's a time where everyone's struggling, but she really like grills this like 14-year-old dude. Oh, you lazy man! You need to help the family, and you need to work.
Yeah,
and
they're like, "You
blah, blah,
kids aren't providing, so you don't get the rice.
You don't get
this
food,
Stupid."
blah. We let you
load of the
live
bad
here. Why
food."
should we give you anything else?
Yeah.
You know?
So he's like, "You know what? We're gonna go live on our own." So he takes his sister, and they go.
And the
to-
aunt's like, okay.
Yeah, she's like,
do
"Fine.
it.
do
Yeah.
it, leave. So they leave and they go to this little bomb shelter, and they kind of make their own little home there, and they try to live there, and he tries to care for her as best as he can, but he's
Yeah.
just a kid.
Yeah, and he resorts to at certain points of the film, just stealing food
Yeah.
so they both can eat. And the part that I remember reading about the real story was that one of the things that would happen is he would find a bunch of food, but he was like, 14, he literally couldn't help himself, and he'd eat it all before he got back to his little sister. And he'd get it back, and he'd have like almost nothing left because he just couldn't help himself.
That's terrible.
Which is something that they do show him like gorging on himself when he does find food, which, would be into that. But I thought the added thing of like every time it being a recurring thing was like absolutely horrific to think about.
That sucks. I
Yeah.
did not know that.
Because they find this little cave, and she's really into the fireflies that are around at night, and they kind of jar some up, and I'm like, oh, pretty. But eventually she gets sick, she gets some worrying like boils or whatever on her back, and the brother's like, okay, this isn't good. We need to try to get this fixed up. Well, he does try.
He tries his best.
Yeah.
And he gets her a watermelon.
Yeah, which is a nice scene, which is, I guess, mostly water. I'm not sure how actually helpful,
Right.
watermelon be. It's just the happiness thing.
And then the little girl dies.
Yeah, she goes quietly and just kind of stops, and you have to deal with that knowledge, and it's real. I mean, it's again. I think I even said this before, but like, I'm never watching this movie ever again.
No.
This is not happening twice. And I think it's good it really depends on how much you can really put yourself in the mindset, not only of this happening to anybody, but happening to another child. You know, I think
Right.
it puts it to another level of just how it's a error in all ways. And it's also just like, there's adults that are like in the film that interact with these kids, you know, even ones that like beat him for like stealing and everything. And it just puts it on a level of like, that's how dire it was for like the country, you know, for everybody. That's how it was. And it just took it out on like in the worst places, like the children and everything. Very, very sad.
Unbelievable. The worst part for me, the part that, so after the girl dies, they do like a 10-minute montage of like all the things that she would do when her brother was out, like trying to like find food or whatever.
Yeah.
Just her like having fun or like whatever.
Yeah, just playing.
And just playing. Which obviously makes you very sad. But this is literally like, I think it's literally the end of the movie, or maybe right before the end. But there's these people that are like coming home. It's like a family, and they're like, "Yay, we're coming home!" And they like have a pretty nice house. You know, they're not like super rich, but they have a pretty nice house. And they're like, "Yay, we're home! I'm finally home after being away for so long. This is so great!" And their whole family is there, and they get there, and the one girl like opens up the windows. She's like, "Look at this beautiful view that we have," and it like pans out, and the view that they have is where the two kids were like living in like terrible agony for like however long they were, and you can see the grave there, and I was just like, that's terrible, because they're like, this is so great, but it's like literally all the suffering like right there.
And I mean,
Terrible.
it was a beautiful view is the thing. You know?
It's gorgeous.
It was, but it's like just with the context, you're like, wow, I can't believe it. Definitely the saddest animated movie I've ever seen.
It's not even close.
Yeah.
Nothing compares to this. This one will really rip you up.
Yeah, it will. But 3 months later, we got another film. 3 months, kind of a different speed than Grave of the Fireflies.
Kinda.
I would say a little bit. Do you disagree? I think it's just right
different
on
speeds. It's my shirt.
It's his shirt. It's Akira.
So, this is what the movie's about. A secret military project endangers Neo Tokyo when it turns a biker gang member into a rampaging psychic psychopath who can only be stopped by a teenager, his gang of biker friends, and a group of psychics.
Yeah, so this was also 1988, directed by Katsuhiro Otomo. And everyone knows Akira, right? That's one that
I think most people know Akira. And if you don't, you've probably seen Ready Player One. So in Ready Player One, there's the race scene. If you remember in the race scene, the girl drives this cool red motorcycle. That is from Akira. Okay, now you know.
Does the motorcycle have a name? I don't remember.
I don't think so. It's just cool. And everyone was like, that motorcycle is cool.
Yeah,
So it just kind of became the thing. Which the motorcycle has like nothing to do with the movie.
No, it's just a cool motorcycle.
Yeah, it's just a cool little motorcycle that he drives.
But yeah, so you have these two guys, Tetsuo and Kaneda.
Tetsuo!
Kaneda!
A lot of yelling.
A lot of yelling.
A lot of yelling in this.
And a lot of morphing around.
Morphing around.
So he gets this weird like experiment done on him that gives him these like psychic abilities. Tetsuo does.
Yeah.
And it kind of also like corrupts him because he like wants to take revenge, you know, on just people for not being nice.
Yeah. And he's like, it's like crazy powerful. He can just like
Yes.
do anything he wants, basically.
Yeah, there's other like weird little doll children with
Very strange looking.
similar powers. They're like little dolls, but they're like old people.
Yeah.
But they're
They got like Benjamin Button.
disease, yeah. And I don't know what's up with that. And they're kind of wary of him too, but it's like his power is like way beyond anything they've ever done before.
Mm.
And he's trying to wreak havoc, basically.
He succeeds in
does
wreaking
succeed.
havoc.
He does
He
succeed.
does blows up a lot of things.
Yeah, there's a lot of blowing up. There's a lot of
Yeah. And he wants to find Akira. He wants to find out what Akira is.
yes, and Akira is
Well, we find out what Akira is. He gets there and he like blows up the facility where Akira is or whatever, and it turns out that Akira was like a kid, and they experimented on, but it like went bad, so they took just like pieces of his body, like his spinal fluid or like whatever, and just like have them in jars. And the dude's like, "That's Akira. Are you happy now?" And he's like, "Ah!"
He freaks out. He's like, "That's awful." But I think I even said that when I watched this movie, it was on YouTube under slime tutorial was the name of the video.
It is a slime tutorial.
It is a slime tutorial in a couple of ways.
It is.
Really, the thing that you'd say about this film is that it's one of those ones that, well, apparently, I don't know if there were more movies, but there's definitely like manga or some sort of supplemental thing.
Oh, okay.
Because like apparently the lore goes like way, way deeper than you see in the film.
Oh.
Because the film touches like the weird kids. Basically, they're like
Yeah, it's just like, hey, these
there and
kids are
they
weird.
don't really explain them.
Yeah.
But apparently there's like a lot more stuff like that in just the
Oh.
city in general.
Okay, that's cool.
And I don't know if that was a different movie or a manga, like I said, but who knows. But you have to think of this movie in terms of how much it like inspired, just like anime wise.
Oh, yeah, this was
like
like a
shonen
building
animes.
block.
It's like the power creep of getting more and more powerful and powerful. The big explosions everywhere. You know, it's a lot of that. I mean, even the bike shot that you see when you go to IMDb, it's the
Yeah,
like,
right.
pause shot. You can see that like everywhere, and it can be like a clear homage to things a
Yeah.
lot of the time. Even Mario did it for like a Mario Kart game, I think. So it's like, yeah,
Mario, guys.
Mario.
Mario.
But yeah, just the way it was super influential. I would say specifically on seemingly like shonen anime,
Yeah, absolutely.
which would be anime designed for young adult males or teens males, right?
Yes.
I think so.
That is the target audience of shonen.
I don't know the names for the rest of them, but there's other ones,
There's shonen,
which is young males.
and then there's, oh man, I used to know.
I think seinen is older males, because I think Cowboy Bebop is technically a seinen, not a shonen. I believe that. But then there's one for like girls that they make that is specifically supposed to.
And then there's hentai.
Which is for everybody. Yeah, I don't know about that. Akira probably inspired a lot of hentai too. Let's be real. When he like grows all big and he's like, I'm sure there's something about that.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
You could. The internet is a place.
It's a wonderful, expansive place that, Tetsuo should destroy.
But yeah, the animation is obviously incredible. Any like hand drawn is just,
it's gonna be unbeatable.
it's just amazing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I really love about animation. It truly is timeless. Like with like older like live action movies, you can obviously see like their limitations. But when it comes to like animated movies, it's just how hard do you want to work on it?
Right.
Like no matter what time period it is, it's how detailed do you want to make it? You can do it. It's just drawing.
Yeah,
Drawing
and
will
of
always
course,
be the same.
If it was like the manga or whatever, that's what a lot of it would be based on. But even just the design of Neo Tokyo and how it's like,
it's awesome.
You can see it's like a destroyed city rebuilt, kind of, and see like what's newer, what's older, that kind of stuff, and how it separates like the people living there. Just really interesting idea. I don't get his jacket with the pill, but it's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's kind of like in Drive, he's got like the scorpion
Yeah,
jacket.
it's
Like,
like
what's
that.
that for? It's cool.
It's cool. That's why. Maybe you know what? Drive probably inspired.
Honestly, yeah,
Like,
probably
yeah,
inspired by
seriously.
Akira.
So
Somehow.
it definitely goes a long ways with that. I mean, Akira, if you're an anime fan, it's just one of those you have to watch it. It's kind of like Ava, which we're doing right now. It just feels like one of those things where it's just required reading.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
you want to call yourself a fan of anime, a fanime, if you will.
A fanime.
That's probably a term, right?
Gotta be.
Yeah, gotta be.
But yeah, Akira, it's just kind of a cool movie. I don't know how to explain it. It's just a cool movie. Just guys being dudes in this one, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I thought it was funny how I'm pretty sure it was like the Olympics in that movie, and it was but it was like closed because of a pandemic, and the year was like last year.
It was 2019.
It was
is when the
2019.
movie takes place. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, weird.
Conspiracy theory, man.
Probably. Akira is just, it influences so much. You
It
know?
really does.
Like real life. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Imagine that 3 months apart. I wonder if they were ever in theaters at the same time, Akira and Grave of the Fireflies. Be like, do we want to see Akira? Or imagine being in the theater, seeing Grave of the Fireflies, and next door, they're seeing Akira.
The kid's dying, and you're just like, Tetsuo! That would take you out of it.
Maybe. I don't know. That'd be an interesting experience. What's next on the list?
The next movie we have is the other Akira Kurosawa movie
Ooh.
from 1990. Movie, honestly, unlike any other movie ever.
Yeah, Akira Kurosawa, and I believe also some segments were directed by Ishiro Honda.
Oh, very nice. We're talking about Dreamz.
Dreamz. Akira Kurosawa's Dreamz.
There's not much to like the description of this. This movie is literally just Akira Kurosawa dreams like a normal human being, and he just took 8 of his dreams and just put them into his movie. So it's basically like a collection of the 8 short films that happen to be stuff that he dreamed about.
The only film, I believe, well, maybe not, now I'm thinking about it, but this is a trilingual film. They speak Japanese, they speak French, and they speak English in this movie. They only speak French and English for like 10
French? When is there French?
When he's going to, well, I guess you wouldn't even be able to tell that they're speaking different language, but the Van Gogh part, anybody who's not Van Gogh is speaking French. Like, remember, he's like, where's Van Gogh? They're like, oh, he's over there. They're speaking French.
Oh. I feel like French is pretty noticeable.
Then Van Gogh is speaking English. And Van Gogh is also
the great Martin Scorsese.
Acclaimed Marvel fan.
He loves Marvel. He was hype over the Spider-Man trailer.
He was. Oh my gosh. He was on Twitter being like, guys, have you seen this? You know what's funny that, though? I remember seeing a interview or a clip or whatever where he was actually talking about how he liked the original Spider-Man Sam Raimi movies. He's like, oh,
nice.
yeah, those are good.
Nice.
Kind of funny.
So here's the deal with this movie. It's not a movie. This is not a movie.
It's not. That's the thing. You have to go into this movie understanding that it's not a movie.
It's not a movie. It's just 8 short films.
Yes.
That make none of them make any sense.
That is not true.
Well, they're just dreams. So like,
what, you think dreams are nonsense? Wait, hold on. We have a bigger thing going on. When you dream and you wake up and you have a dream about stabbing your mother to death, do you wake up and be like, that means nothing?
No, not like.
What do you mean?
No.
What are you trying to say?
I meant like things like if somebody watched this movie and like they were just like, why are these weird things happening? This doesn't make any sense. Not like the dreams don't mean anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's abstract kind of stuff going on that you have to decode in dream thoughts.
Because I'm sure that some people saw it and were like, this doesn't make any sense.
Right. People who take it completely at face value, for sure. It does. If we want to go through it straight through the ones we remember, at least.
Yes, I think I can get most of them.
We have 8 of them, and it starts at youngest and it ends at oldest, I suppose.
Yes.
Starts youngest. It's like, I don't remember the name, but it's the Fox Wedding. It might be called that.
Yes. No, it's not the Fox Wedding, but that's what's the one you're thinking of.
So it starts on a little boy, and it's like him and his mom, I assume.
It's raining, but it's sunny.
It's raining and sunny, and he's like, what's going on? And she's like, you can't go out because on days like today, foxes have weddings, and if you see it, bad things will happen to you.
And he's like, I'm going out.
He's like, fuck you, mom. Flips her the double bird and runs off. And he goes in the woods, and he sees a very slow
oh my goodness.
wedding march.
Listen, that's a thing with this one particular, not just like this whole movie. I get like patience in filmmaking, but specifically in this one
And the blizzard.
and in the Blizzard one, it is like, all right,
The blizzard.
I get it.
The blizzard one's worse to me because you can see less in the blizzard one.
Yeah,
But this one I actually wasn't too mad with because
they're dancing.
yeah, they're like dancing. They're doing. And they go. They're looking for people watching them, and they got cool makeup and everything because it's just humans dressed up with like fox makeup, but they're actually foxes. Whatever. It's a dream.
It's a dream.
And so he watches them. They find him out. He runs away. He tries to go home, and his mom's like, "Listen, a fox came here, and he was looking for you, and he was really mad, and he gave me this sword, and he wants you to commit seppuku, and atone." And she's like, "But maybe if you beg for your life on your knees like a little twerp, they'll spare you." And I don't know if he even says anything the whole time.
He does.
He does? Okay.
Well, because she's like, you need to go
she's
to
like,
the
I don't
fox.
know where
And he's
they
like,
are.
where are the foxes at? She's like, they're under the rainbow.
Under the rainbow,
you
idiot. I can't believe I raised someone so stupid. No wonder the foxes want you dead.
So
And
he goes to the rainbow.
He walks on the rainbow, and it's the shot that like I feel most people think of when they, because it's like on the cover and everything.
And we
It's-
tweeted it.
and we tweeted it even. And he's just walking on the rainbow with his little sword. He just walks off into the distance.
And it ends.
That's the end of that one. I would say the second one is actually my favorite dream.
Okay.
The Peach Orchard, I think.
That one's... I liked that one. It's not my favorite one, though.
I love this one.
Okay.
And I think part of it is just because I think the little boy who's playing... I assume he's playing Akira Kurosawa
I'm assuming
as a kid, right?
they're all Akira
Right.
Kurosawa.
I just thought he was a really cute actor.
He is very
you
cute.
know? But his sister is having like a tea party, and he's like brings him tea, and he's like, "Wait, hold on, weren't there
Hold
like
up.
7 of you, not 6?" And she's like, "You're a crazy person."
Yeah, and he's like, no, I think there was another
And then he
person
sees a girl, and he's like, "Oh, wait up!" And he chases after her, and she's kind of like running away, and it brings him to this peach orchard, where you see a bunch of people all dressed up, and they're like, "Hey, don't go past there." And they're dressed up like dolls, like, you know, the white makeup with like the whatever going on, like geisha sort of looking style stuff.
They look cool.
They look very cool, and they're all dressed up, and they're like, "Oh, we are the peach trees, and you suck. We hate you. Your family cut down all the orchard." And the boy starts crying, and he's like, "No, you got all twisted, Holmes." And he's like, "I was sad. I cried when they cut down the tree because I knew I'd never see something so beautiful as a peach orchard in bloom again." They're like, "Oh, okay." And they transform back, and they're like, "Let's show them one last, you know, bloom." And all the flowers fall, and they do a dance and a song, and the music's awesome there in that part. It's got that, I don't know what all the instruments are, but I assume the traditional like Japanese instruments, like the dunk, 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 you know that thing?
Yeah.
It's cool. And they just do the little dance, and then he like gets kind of cheered up, and he opens his eyes. He's like, "Oh, they're all cut down."
Oh,
That
the trees are
sucks.
cut.
And he sees the girl transforms into, off screen, but she transforms into a little baby peach tree, and he kind of like just looks at it, and he's sad.
Interesting dream.
Should we talk about what we think they mean? Because I'm not sure I even have one for each of them.
It's hard when you don't know the person.
To me, the peach orchard to me represents budding sexuality, and I don't know if that's accurate, but that's what I got out of it.
Okay.
Just should I explain myself?
No. I mean, if you really want to, you can. I'm personally not interested,
Okay.
but maybe the listeners are.
I just took it as, who does he chase out of the home? It's a young girl, you know, and I think a peach. I don't know if in Japanese it is, but it can be kind of seen as like a fertility, almost kind of fruit, you know, a sweet kind of thing. Not just because it's the ass emoji, like actually. Right.
It is.
And part of it was also taking from the group of all the girls with his sister, and the maybe feeling like there started to be a detachment there, because at first it was just like, "Oh, I can hang around these girls, there's no problem," and then having those feelings and feeling like almost ostracized, like, "Oh, this is intimidating now," because it's like whatever. That's just what I took from it. Was that kind of idea? I'm sure that's not accurate. Like, I'm really, really sure
hey,
that
you
it's
can
not.
take whatever you want from them.
But
to be
I
honest.
took it that way, and I thought it was an interesting way to look at it.
If that's the way you like to think about it, that's totally
It
valid.
was definitely something lost that once was had. You could even see it as just regular naivete, you know? I guess just because of specifically him chasing after the other girl made me think of it that way.
Interesting. Okay, let me get to the third one. This one sucks. I won't lie. I think the Blizzard sucks.
right,
I
okay.
think it's terrible.
Blizzard,
Boring.
the message is fine, but the actual thing, I mean, it's boring until the woman shows up. And then you're like, "Oh, something is happening."
Yes. Literally for probably 20 minutes. They're just
It feels like it. If
they're
it's not.
just climbing. They don't talk really unless they're like yelling like, "Hey!"
Yeah.
They're just climbing up this mountain in this blizzard, and they're like barely moving because the snow is like up to their waist,
Yeah.
and it's just like the wind is going
The whole time.
the whole time, and you can't see anything, and you're just like, dude. And then they just all fall, and they're like, "Oh, okay, time to die." And then the woman comes.
Here's the thing. I guess the only reason I feel okay about this one is because whenever I'm watching this movie, because I did rewatch, this is the only one I rewatched, I think of it as if I was dreaming it, not just I'm watching a movie. I was like, what if I was dreaming this dream?
Oh no, I didn't do that.
Because I have had dreams like, so at this end of this point, all of his friends have like fallen asleep in the snow, and he's like, "You're gonna die." He's like, "Wake up, wake up!" And then a
Yeah.
woman comes and covers him with a blanket. She's like, "Hey, you can rest now. It's totally
snow
cool."
is warm.
And yeah, and he like kind of falls asleep. And I've had dreams where it's been like, I'm dying, and somebody's like, "It's okay, die," and then you have to like fight to like not die. I've had a dream like that before, and so that just everything of like really wanting to give in and it feeling really really good to just close your eyes and like give in, but then knowing and be like, wait, this is
Hold
not
on.
okay. That specifically, that like, you know, couple of minutes right there really struck with me because I had had a dream like that myself, you know.
Interesting. See,
I thought it was very cool.
for everybody.
But I mean, the first 10 minutes, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like, if you see it as a nightmare, it's like, okay, sure, whatever. But, you know.
And then he wakes up, and everybody wakes up from their nice
like, "Look,
little
it's
snow,
camp."
and they're like, "Hey, our camp, guys."
It was like 2 feet away.
It was right there the whole time, and then it just ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like that one. Much. The fourth one is
Is it Van Gogh? Maybe?
I think Van Gogh is the sixth one,
Whoa, okay.
or no, Van Gogh is the fifth one.
one. Okay.
What is the fourth one?
I am really struggling.
To be honest,
think.
I can only remember 3 more, so I'm missing 2 in my head.
Yeah.
There's the Van Gogh one. There's the
Crows,
water.
I think it's called.
Oh, the Crows.
Yeah.
Wait, that's the Van
That's
Gogh
the Van
one?
Gogh one, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's the Water Village one, which
That's
is the
the
last
last one.
And then there's the Demon one.
There's the demons ones, and then there's also the other one where it's the wind. It's the nuclear power plant blew up, and they're like, if the wind touches you, the red wind will peel your skin off. The yellow wind will give you cancer. The blue wind will
Oh, right.
whatever. And so why don't we just talk about the Van Gogh one now?
Van Gogh one was cool.
Van Gogh one was very cool. So you show up, it's just this guy looking at art, and then he's like, "Where can I find Van Gogh? I heard he was here." And he's like, "Oh, he's over the bridge." He's just like right over there. He's like, "Thanks." Goes over in French, of course.
Merci.
And he goes over there and he's like, "Hey, are you Van Gogh?" And Martin Scorsese goes, "Yeah, I'm Van Gogh."
He's
That's
like,
me.
sweet.
He's like, "That's really cool." And then he's like, "Shut the fuck up. I don't have time to talk with you." He's like, "Why the fuck aren't you painting? Bitch, this scene is beautiful to me. What are you asleep?" And he just kind of goes off. He's like, "I need to paint. I need to paint. This whatever. I don't have time to talk to you." And that's like all they say.
It's awesome.
It's really cool. And it's Martin Scorsese.
It's Martin
So
Scorsese.
you're just like watching, you're like, what? And I think one of the only reasons this movie even got made was because like Spielberg helped. Actually,
Yeah, I saw
produce it.
his
Yeah.
name was on the thing, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, Amblin Entertainment or whatever. And so he does that, and then the guy starts walking through different Van Gogh paintings, like they like not rotoscope, but just like green screen him.
Yeah, it was
into
cool. It was
thing, and
cool.
he
He's,
just
like,
kind of like
walking
walks
through
through them. It's just like the one movie they made where they rotoscoped all the paintings. If you know which one I'm talking about, it's a recent one.
Vincent?
Is it Vincent?
The Loving Vincent?
Loving. I thought that was the Willem Dafoe one, but that was at
That's at
Eternity's
Eternity's
Gate. So yeah,
Gates.
it was Loving Vincent.
I thought that one was every frame was a different painting. Like, actually, like, a different painting. Like, they painted, like, 18,000 paintings.
Doesn't that still count as rotoscoping in a certain way?
I don't know. I guess.
Yeah, who knows? Well, because I don't know if they used models or not, or if it was all just from.
Right. I
You
don't know.
Yeah, and that's that one. And basically, he's saying like, you need to be creating. You can't just be walking around. What are you doing?
And he was like, okay.
He's like, sure. And the crows fly out. And I'm like, grr.
The crows, man. It was like the birds, but the crows.
I wonder if that was the influence there.
Probably.
Maybe.
I think the birds came out before. Well,
Oh,
definitely.
yeah, it had
Definitely.
to,
Hold
yeah.
on. What am I talking about?
Okay, and then we can talk about the wind one. The wind one and the demons one follow similar anti-nuclear messages, right?
Right.
They're both kind of about the dangers that Akira Kurosawa was feeling about the use of nuclear power. And the wind one, it's like you see a bunch of people. Mount Fuji has erupted, I believe, and everyone's kind of freaking out. A lot of people have died. At the end, like you see a bunch of chaos, and then it's 3 people left. It's 2 dudes and a woman and a child, you know. And the oldest dude is like, you looking up the, yeah. So I was right. Mount
Yeah,
Fuji.
it is 4, and then Mount Fuji is 5.
Cool. then the demons, and then the village.
Why does it only show 7?
That's weird. I don't know. 2, 3, 4. Oh, the crows was different?
Oh, the tunnel.
Oh, the tunnel. How did we forget the tunnel?
The tunnel. That one just didn't have a picture.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. Okay.
The tunnel. Anyway, so we'll finish the
wind.
Fuji,
Yeah.
and
So
then we
Mount
can do
Fuji
the
erupts,
tunnel.
and it's absolute chaos. You see a bunch of people running around, and it ends with just 3 people left. And the guy's explaining how we all should have seen this coming because the nuclear power was no good. And he's saying, like, yeah, if any of the wind touches you, you're basically going to die horrible death immediately. Everyone else has already, like, drowned themselves in the sea because it's, like, an easier fate. And the old guy just resigns himself to his death. And then the younger guy, like, takes off his jacket and tries to bat the wind away, you know, even though obviously that's nothing.
Not gonna work, buddy.
It's a bad dream.
Bad dream. Not a good
one.
dream.
Everyone's dead because Mount Fuji. Now we have the tunnel.
The tunnel.
Is this your favorite?
No.
Okay.
The tunnel. How could my favorite one be the one that I don't remember?
That's true. What?
The tunnel. So there's a dude, Akira Kurosawa, and he's like,
A general.
I'm walking. There's a tunnel. I will now walk through the tunnel.
Wait a second.
There's hi doggy.
Oh, hi, Dougie.
Dog barks at him a lot, and he's just like, okay. He walks through the tunnel for a while,
Yeah, for a little bit.
and then he gets to the other side of the tunnel, and there's like a red light. Not like a red light, not like a red light,
stop
but like
light,
a light that is red.
Yes. It's very clear.
And he walks out, and he's like, yeah, I'm chilling.
And then you hear, what is that?
It's a whole dang squadron.
Well, at first it's just one. At first.
Right.
You just face one guy, and he's like, oh, reporting for duty, sir, for commander, or whatever. And he's like, hey, you're going home. I live there, too. My family's waiting for me. And he's, like, completely blue. He's a dead ghost. And he's like, dude, you're dead. And he's, like, getting really worked up. He's like, I'm sorry that you're not going to be able to see your family. You're dead. And then he's like, wait, hold on a second. And then all the soldiers come in. And the line that got me from this one, which was the, like, leader of that little troop was like, Unit 41, all present and accounted for, sir. And you're like, oh, they all died.
They're all done.
Every single person in that one specific troop perished. So I like that line a lot because I was like, oh, that's kind of twisted.
Yeah.
And basically he just has to break down in front of this crowd of soldiers that he commanded, and basically, you know, in his eyes, like put to their deaths and like apologize. And he gives them one last command. And he's like, turn around, forward march back into the tunnel. And then the dog comes back and he's like, "Rrr, rrr,
Yep.
rrr." I just thought the soldiers looked really cool.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Was Akira Kurosawa like in the military?
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't do a full bio.
That's an interesting one to have. Okay. Demons.
Demons.
The demon
Weeping
one.
demons. Yeah.
This one I don't know.
Yeah, I think this was probably my least favorite, actually, was the demons one.
I wasn't a huge fan of it either.
I didn't get too much out of it. I definitely felt some sort of class, spiel going on about like, oh, the horns, the 1 demon horns, the 2 demon horns, 3 demon horns, but we're all demons, something like that. There's a section of it where you just see a bunch of people just kind of like wriggling.
Yeah, just like walking around. It's weird.
And it's all demons, and the one guy who's just like, what is this place? And there's like really large plants and stuff like that. It's definitely an interesting one, but it was one that wasn't keeping my attention really throughout this one.
Hard agree.
Even visually, it was lacking a lot.
Yeah.
It was like a pit, but not in a good way, like Woman in the Dunes.
Yeah, not an awesome pit. It's kind of like a lame pit.
Yeah, and I believe this one was also about like nuclear power and stuff, and it was like corrupting them or something like that too. He obviously had his reservations about all of that, which is completely understandable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say that one was my least favorite of the one. If I ever watch this again, I might just give it a skip.
Hey, let's skip
Chapter,
that one.
next chapter.
Then we get the last one, the last stream, which is my favorite one.
There you go. Because it's the happy one.
I mean, I don't know if it's because it's the happy one. I just liked that one the most.
Okay.
I mean, it was nice that it was happy. I liked. There's like the very last line is the old dude, that's like working on the water mill thing. he's I don't know if I can get it exactly, but he's like, everyone's always talking about how hard life is all the time, and he's like, they're stupid. He was like, life is cool.
Yeah, I don't think that's the exact line.
Well, yeah, he's not like they're stupid, but he's basically like, life is cool and it's worth it. And I was like, that's nice.
It's something about like people need to stop worrying about like the bad things in life and focus on the good things or whatever.
Right.
And they live in this village that I guess I would assume would be like Akira Kurosawa's like idea of sort of a utopia almost.
Because, dude, this might be the most beautiful place on planet Earth.
It was extremely, the word I would use is serene.
It is like,
You know.
there's like this beautiful river, and they got these awesome little bridges going. And they got
There's like
these cool
children
mills.
playing and
They're playing with flowers, and the water looks so nice.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
And the one guy just walks up to old dude and he's like, what? What is this? And the old guy actually explains it. He's like, hey, look, science and your tools to make life like better, like maybe you don't need everything in life to be streamlined and simplified. Maybe a water wheel is cool.
Yeah, and then he's like, why'd the kids put the flowers on that rock? And he's like, oh, this one time, this random guy just died there.
Yeah.
So we put a rock there and put flowers there, and we've just kind of been doing
And
it
they
ever
also
since.
have a little parade, I think, in that one.
Yeah, there's a parade because somebody died. And he's like, it's not a funeral. He's like, it's a celebration. And he's like, cool. And he's like, now, obviously, it's different if, like, a child dies or, like, someone young. But he's like, this person was old, and it was their time or whatever. So then he's like, matter of fact, I have to go right now to the parade. And they go, and then the ending is just like, there's just like a parade happening. And I don't know. I remember the song they sing. So they're like carrying the thing, they're like dancing, and like there's these people in front that have these like shaky things, and they're like, yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
and then they do like a ch-ch, and then they're like, yes, yes, yes,
I do remember that.
and then they like yell, and they're like, yes. I was
It's the
dancing
ladies
along
and the
with it.
guys and the ladies, and they go back and forth.
And they're just playing, having fun, and the kids are throwing flowers everywhere. It's very nice.
Yeah, it's the best one to end on. You know what I mean? Like if you ended on any of the others, it'd be like,
Yeah. And then he's just like, this is really cool. And then he just kind of leaves the village because he's just traveling. And he just kind of walks away, and then the movie ends.
And it's like, yeah, that was all my dreams.
Oh, my favorite thing. Well, I was proud of. Well, okay, I'm not proud of my. It's not like it was hard to guess, but so there's like this cool shot of him like walking out of the village, and then it cuts to like the river, and there's like this really cool like plant life in the river, and it was just, and I was like, we should roll the credits right now,
And then it did.
and then it did, and I was like,
is
good
cool.
job,
I mean, we always love credits that keep something going.
right?
You know,
Yeah,
it's great.
keep it going.
Keep it going. That's Dreams. I mean,
It-
I like it just because it's like what's been made like this.
Yeah, it's cool.
you
It's
know?
not. There's not another movie like this, so it's just a cool thing. It would be cool if like more filmmakers towards the end of their reign were just like, here are my dreams.
right.
Like, you know, what do you think?
What's Denis Villeneuve's dreams look like?
His dreams have got to be fucked up,
You think?
probably. Or they're either really fucked up or super like happiness all the time.
Why don't we take a little aside here and talk about dreams for a second? Would you like to?
Okay.
Do you
Sure.
dream?
I dream. Dream. I do dream.
That's good. So what kind of dreams do you dream? Do you dream mostly happy dreams? Are they banal or are they extravagant?
I mostly have. I don't really have nightmares ever.
Okay.
I had nightmares like a few when I was a kid that I remember.
Like the vampire one?
Yes.
Yeah.
But lately, for like the past like basically like 7 or 8 years, I mostly just have like really weird dreams where like I'm doing something like normal, but there's just like weird things happening.
Yeah. Do you realize it's weird in the dream, or is it one of those things where you're just like, yeah, this is totally cool?
I realize it's weird. I don't like lucid dream, but like I like feel like I am. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get what you mean. You're aware that you're dreaming, but you can't control your dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think I'm ever not aware that I'm dreaming necessarily. Like if I do, it's very rarely. And I lucid dream also very, very rarely. Like probably maybe once a year.
Yeah.
You know? Because I always need to be in a certain state of mind that happens like once a year, funnily enough.
It's apple juice.
Really?
The key to dreaming is apple juice, and that's actually like you can look that up, I think.
Interesting.
That's like if you want to like actually dream hard, apple juice right before you go to bed.
Okay, sure, I'll try that. I think
just
that's just
saying.
like a prank to get people to piss themselves.
No, I'm telling you, man.
Yeah. My dreams usually they're not overly fantastic. I record a lot of my dreams.
I need to start doing that.
I would say that a lot of my dreams, like, if other people dream them, they'd be nightmares, but they're not nightmares for me, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Well, because I remember I had a dream that I was being stalked by Jason from like the Friday the 13th.
And that wasn't a nightmare for you?
No, I was like, this is really exciting. I was like, this is. I literally remember I was like, this would be such a great movie. I was like
awesome.
being killed. And, like, I think you were there and got like stabbed or something.
Nice. Good for me.
But I literally remember at the end, I was about to get killed. Jason like grabbed me and he's about to shove his machete in me, and then it went cut. And I looked, and it was a movie.
Oh,
and I was like,
what?
what? And he took off his mask, and he was like a super sexy Spanish dude. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's a movie.
That's awesome.
And I woke up.
My thing is, my dreams are very like vivid, and I can feel. Can you like feel in your dreams?
Depends on what the dream is and
Okay,
what's happening
so-
in real life.
I had a dream one time where I was shot in the throat,
Okay.
and I felt it.
Okay.
And I don't know what it feels like to get shot. But from my dream experience, getting shot fucking hurts.
I would bet. See, I don't know if I feel that intensely, but I definitely can feel stuff because I've definitely been like, oh, somebody's touching me, and then I look around and there's like a thing there, you know. But I've had a dream about being shot once too
Where'd you get shot?
in my stomach, and I just
you didn't feel
remember.
it?
No, I remember feeling it, but it wasn't pain necessarily. I remember feeling it, and then I got just like really, really hot. I just remember feeling it, and I saw the blood. My whole body just went flush, and I just fell over, and I woke up.
Yeah. Okay. So I can explain exactly what it feels like to get shot.
Okay.
I was shot specifically in the throat right here, and it
Yeah.
went through.
Okay. Oh, nice.
So
That's better, right?
Instantly, I remember I was running down a hallway, and I heard the shot,
Yeah.
and then it was like a quick pinch, and then it just gets really, really hot, like you were saying,
Oh,
like really
interesting.
hot, and I was like, whoa. And obviously
Yeah.
at this point, I'm like choking,
Yeah.
and then it's just like I don't know how to explain, but it just hurts so bad.
Yeah. I wonder if that it's interesting that the heat. I wonder if that's like something our body knows that great pain. That's what it would feel like.
Right,
And that's
because
why
your
we would
blood
dream
and
it.
blood is hot. So
Right. Because
it
I
makes
remember
sense.
just the heat. I was like, wow. And,
Right.
Yeah.
And then this is a funny. I don't know why I always remember this dream that I had. This was back in I think middle school. I had this dream. I was playing Call of Duty Black Ops, but I was in the game,
Oh, okay.
and it was the very beginning of a search and destroy round, and we all spawned in. And we started running, and I looked up, and there's a freaking cross map tomahawk coming, and it hit me in the shin.
Okay.
And bro,
It hurt.
tomahawk in the shin does not feel good.
Wow.
And that was the whole dream. That was it. I spawned in. I was like, let's go. And then
So when you
Tomahawk.
wake up, are you like, ow, my leg?
no, I don't remember my leg hurting, but I do remember when I got shot, my neck. I had like like I slept wrong or something. Like my neck like.
Oh, I
hurt.
wonder if that like caused the dream.
Yeah, I
or
always
something,
think about
you
stuff
know?
like that
Yeah.
too. Interesting. I actually just had a dream last night. You want to know what happened?
Is it interesting?
It was interesting.
Let's find out.
So, let's see if this would be good in a movie.
Okay.
I was in this school, and there was a play or a musical that was going to happen.
Okay.
And I was like a VIP. Not like a VIP, but I was like, I needed to be behind the scenes because I needed to go like talk to somebody. And I was like walking back there, and like these other people were like walking back there too. And they're like walking there, and there was all these people, like the people that came in to do this play were like, whoa, hold on, stop. You cannot be back here. Like, listen,
Okay.
these people are not allowed to be helped. They were like, you can't help these people. They need to do this alone. And I was like, wait, but I need to like get back here to like do this thing. And they're like, no, like, listen, like this group is very special, and like they're not allowed to have like anybody back here. And I was
Okay.
like, yeah, okay, whatever. So then I like went around the back and like tried to find my way in, but I couldn't.
That's it?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's very interesting. It just sounds like trying to get backstage at any event in real life.
But I needed to be back there.
Yeah, and that guy really needed Logan Paul to give him a job. That's a Twitter thing. I don't know.
All right, fine.
I had a dream that okay. This will be the last thing because we're talking about way too long. But I remember that this is funny. We started with a show like this, and now we're here again. I had a dream that my house was like a museum. Like
Sorry.
people just came into my house and were like just looking at all the stuff. And
Oh,
they're
that's
like,
cool.
Wow, interesting. And then I was like, oh, this is fine. But then people started like wanting to buy the stuff, and I was like, no, that's my couch. You can't have my couch. And then they would just throw money at me and take my couch. And I like started freaking out and I was like, get out.
You just buying your couch.
But I mean, they were taking everything, you know, like literally the house was going barren. And I was like, whoa,
Just buy a new
I don't
house.
want the money. And I remember I went in the garage and I just started feeling really tired and I fell on the floor and just watched them take all the stuff in my house. And then a guy came in and like, I didn't see his face, but he was in a suit and he just reached down to me and like made sure I was okay. And then I tried to like reach out to him, but I couldn't. And then he pulled out a gun.
Oh.
And he started threatening everybody in the room and they all ran away. And then I woke up.
Did they put the furniture back?
Well, they just dropped whatever they had and they just ran away.
Nice.
So.
Nice guy.
I guess. I don't know. I don't know what that means.
That's cool.
Anyway, that was a fun aside, I think. Everyone likes Dreamz, right?
That was fun.
9 years later.
In 1999, the year of my birth,
Yes.
if anyone was interested. Okay. Cool movie came out called Jinro, The Wolf Brigade, directed by Hiroyuki Akira.
Yeah, I think so.
This is what IMDb has to say. A traumatized member of an elite paramilitary police force falls for the sister of a female terrorist courier who died in front of him on duty.
Yeah, so the very opening of the film being that female terrorist dying in front of him by blowing herself up.
Yep.
And the sister being someone he meets later. One, just art-wise, neat looking movie.
Hand-drawn, but you can't beat it.
So this takes place in like, I guess like a alternate history kind of thing. Where
Alternate history post World War II Japan, in which Germany has taken over.
Yeah, exactly. The armor's really cool.
Dude, that's the thing. There's got to be cosplays. I've been meaning to like look up cosplays of like the armor that they wear. It's so
sweet.
cool. They're just like fully geared up. They got these awesome red eyes, and they just MG42 at the hip, and they're just blowing.
Just unload. It's very, very cool.
It's awesome.
Obviously the movie's kind of a sadder. I mean, there's plenty of action, but
Yes,
it's introspective a little bit.
So funny thing before we actually talk about the movie.
Okay.
I started to watch this movie, and it was like I was like really tired. I got through the first 15 minutes is very exciting. Very exciting, action-packed.
It's like a cold open almost.
And then it becomes more like drama for like the next like 45 minutes. Political stuff going on. And then it heats up again towards the end. But I was really tired, I remember. And I remember I saw the first 15 minutes. I was like, that was freaking sweet. And then I remember waking up. Yeah. And the girl is hugging him like,
oh my gosh,
how big your teeth are.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is happening? What is happening? What is happening? And she shoots her.
It's like the end of the movie.
And then the movie ended, and I was like, whoa, wow. I missed a lot.
Yeah.
So then I had to watch it again.
The whole development of those two characters.
Yeah. I just thought that was a funny thing that I got to experience.
I mean, really, I don't think it'd be getting too in the weeds, I think, to say like the specifics, other than he's kind of like a cog in a machine that he's not really satisfied with, you know, and he has leaders that are telling him to do stuff that he just doesn't want to do. And he makes this connection with the little sister of this terrorist that had died in front of him. Little sister? I don't know.
I always figured. I mean, it doesn't matter because it's not his sister anyway, or her sister.
Yeah. But
it was a fake out.
The
spoilers.
Yeah. Right, because we didn't just say that at the end. It's blown away.
She dies.
One of my favorite parts of this movie, and you'll have to, because it's been a while since I've seen it, you'll have to remind me exactly what the context is, but they go walking to like a circus or like a park or something, and she like trips, and he gets like PTSD flashbacks of literally like a firing squad and people's like bodies falling after being shot. And it just pops in, like it's totally normal happy, and then it's like 2-second shot of like cutting to like really graphic imagery.
Yes.
And it like totally shakes him.
That does happen.
I thought it was just like
cool.
Awesome. Yeah. I was like, it seemed weird. I felt like I'd seen it before, but for whatever reason, it was done the best in this movie. I don't know if it's because it was just from completely happy to like really awful imagery or not, but it was something about it. I was like, that worked for me.
Yeah.
And maybe it was just because it was once. Because I think a lot of times they'll do it like a lot in a movie or something, but this was like one time in the whole movie that something like this kind of like
and
happens.
he was like PTSD.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting because it put you in his mindset of like that's where he was taken back to. You got there, he's not staying there. That's why it's not a long shot. It's like he just got the flash of it. It just puts you in like his shoes there. I thought it was effective.
It's very effective. The whole movie's very effective.
Yeah.
So basically, what happens is they meet each other and they're like kind of all lovey dovey, and they're like, "You're cute, you're cute."
Exactly.
And then, OMG, turns out the girl, not actually the girl's sister. She's a spy
Of the public, whatever they're called.
and they're basically working to like disband the force that he's in or whatever.
Yeah.
So they were like doing a thing where like they would see like him with like this girl, and that would be like boom, and it would like delegitimize him or whatever. But he finds out and he kills all of them. And then she's like, "OMG, how'd you know?" And he's like, "I'm the best."
So cool.
Because turns out that he was actually double crossing her the whole time too. He was in the Wolf Brigade group, which is
Panzer
like
whatever,
a special secret section of the main group. And he was like, "Yeah, you've fallen into my trap, ho."
Well, that's not exactly how he's like.
And she's like, "OMG." And then he kills like everybody. And just an awesome scene where he's armored up and he goes into straight kill mode.
Yeah.
And the girl is like, "Stop. And he's just doesn't say anything. He's just straightforward, like lighting dudes up. And this movie's brutal.
I mean, really, because it takes. I think it's obviously the intent. When you're fully kitted up and they just are mowing people down, it's robotic. You know what I mean? It's like the humanity is gone. They're killing machines. They may as well be robots at that
Literally.
point, And I think that's with the design and everything, glowing eyes and all that.
Definitely.
It was a structured choice that
They don't talk.
Yeah, they don't speak if they're wearing the helmets and everything, like ever. Yeah.
Yeah. And he just kills everyone. And the very last dude, I just thought the whole last part with like he's like having the standoff with the last dude was just so cool. The dude just turns around, he's like, and he shoots him, and it like deflects off his armor and does this cool explosion. And he probably shoots 100 bullets into this dude. It starts off, he just shoots at the ground, and like it just like slowly just like lifts up and then just cuts the dude in half.
Yeah, it's gnarly.
And it's just like you just watch, and the dude just like
but it's beautiful.
But it's awesome.
Like it really is good looking. Good art.
And then you're like, wow, awesome.
Yay, the movie's over.
It's not over.
What?
OMG. Listen. We need to have this girl so we can have leverage over this other group.
Yeah, she's too important. If she gets back, then it'll be
But we can't let her get back. So we just need to have them think that we have her all the time. So she needs to die. And he's like, that wasn't part of the contract. And he's like, well, you're going to need to do it. She gets it.
The terms have been renegotiated.
So then he's like, oof.
And then she's like, oh, what big fangs you have.
Yeah, and then she does the little Red Riding Hood thing, which is like a thing that goes throughout the movie. She like tells him the story of like Little Red Riding Hood.
And of course, the actual story is the wolf being disguised as a loved one. So it's just
right, which is a direct metaphor.
Yeah, for their relationship.
For them,
so.
which is nice.
Works out.
And then so he shoots her.
Yep, I guess this is also one that I think there's more movies or manga or something.
Oh,
that
really?
Expands. It might actually be like a trilogy or something of unrelated movies, maybe.
Oh, nice.
I'm not sure. That was just a brief thing that I saw, so I'm not certain about. But I think this one is also pretty well known. Not nearly on the level of like something like Akira.
I've never heard of it. I know that. I've never heard of it
yeah.
until you mentioned it.
But it's definitely just super cool and interesting.
Yeah.
And like
Gotta find
hardcore.
Oh yeah.
You know. So it's definitely, if you like that kind of hardcore stuff, you fit right in with this. And it's not like, I don't know what the phrase would, but it's not gore for gore's sake. You know, it has a meaning in the story as well.
Right, yeah.
So you kind of can be like, oh no, I watch it for the story.
Yeah, even though in reality, you just love watching these dudes in awesome suits just rip people up with giant guns.
But you can say, no, it's about PTSD and like politics. Yeah. But really, we all know.
Especially when he's just shooting some dude's dead body like 50 times. Yeah. And he's just exploding with blood.
Yeah, well, That's Jinro
like
for you.
like right there.
Yeah, like right on the IMDb screen.
Good movie.
Good movie. Next movie. Take a deep breath before you say the title.
Here we go. Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah. Giant monsters, all out attack.
Nice. You
From
did
2001.
2001, directed by Shusuke Kaneko.
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
Sure.
This is one of many Godzilla movies. There's many Godzilla
There
movies.
are a ton.
This one says, a reporter, notorious for working on pseudo-documentaries, must uncover the legend of the three guardian monsters who must rise to defend Japan from the vengeful spirits within Godzilla. I will say, this movie is super cool.
Yeah, it is. I gave you just a peek behind the curtain. Also, this hat that I just put on is from the movie, and nobody would ever know that unless I told them. So there you go.
Right, and I just saw the movie, and I didn't even know.
Yeah.
It's literally just a hat that one of the characters wears. It's not important. He just wears it.
I don't wear it because to rep the movie. I just think it's a cool hat.
It is a cool hat.
Yeah, so I'm just like, it's a double kind of thing. Anyway, I gave you a list of 3. I think I said you can watch the original Godzilla, you can watch this one, you can watch Final Wars, and you picked the long one because I already had that one, and I could just give it to you, even though I had the original Godzilla too. Thanks to you. Anyway, the thing that I like about this film that you wouldn't get because you haven't seen a lot of Godzilla movies,
Right.
is that a lot of it is almost like a return to form, because Godzilla's the bad guy again.
He's not like
I don't know
anti-hero.
what you were expecting. If you were expecting Godzilla to be like a hero or an anti-hero.
I actually was a little confused because most of the Godzilla movies I've seen, Godzilla's kind of like an anti-hero thing.
Or like Shin Godzilla, where he's just kind of an animal.
Yeah.
You know, he's just kind of trying to like.
But in this one, he's like, I'm
villain.
going to kill everybody.
Yeah, he's gonna just destroy the world. Like, yeah, and that's kind of like I said, harkens back to original Godzilla because there was a long era where, and I mean, it still goes on that Godzilla's the protector of the Earth. Godzilla will save us. Blah. And this one, they really flipped the script, especially with something like King Ghidorah, who is almost always just the world destroyer type of monster, you know? Mothra, I don't know if Mothra's ever been bad. Mothra's a good
Mothra's too
girl.
chill.
She's nice. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why I love this film, and it does have little different nods to like the original film and other things going on. I think there's a lot to like in it if you like Godzilla. It's the reason why it's one of my favorites.
Godzilla.
And you still liked it, even though it was one of the first ones that you've seen, of at least like original.
Yeah, like more like the original stuff. I love the miniature stuff.
Yeah, the
It's
miniatures and the
so
costumes.
Cool.
It's amazing what they were able to do, because it doesn't look
It
that bad.
doesn't. It doesn't. It looks good.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'd be like, this miniature work is because it like looks. It's obviously real, but you can tell it's a miniature. But that's if you're like looking.
Yeah.
Because it looks really real because it is real because it's just very small scale.
Very tiny.
But it made to look real big.
Right.
And it works.
It does work. I also like how, I guess it's just to Godzilla being evil, but in this one, again, he's like brutal almost.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he doesn't pull punches ever. He's like, no, I'm out to kill. It's good.
And he does like spin moves. I remember one, he like jumps and like spins and
Yeah.
like hits a dude in the face with his tail. The funniest part of the movie. He's like walking through the city, like crushing all these buildings. And there's this girl that's in this hospital and her leg is up because she like broke her leg or something. And she sees Godzilla like walking towards the hospital and she's like, oh no, Godzilla's coming. She's like trying to get away, but she can't. And it turns out Godzilla just like walks by the building and you're like, and she's like, oh, okay, cool. And then you just like see, and then Godzilla's tail just comes out of nowhere and just,
Yeah.
and just like rips the building in half. And I was just like, that's classic.
Yeah, I know. It's like in this one, he's destroying hospitals and they make a point of it, you know?
He's doing it big time.
And I think that, again, like you said, the effects are like really good for what they are.
Yeah.
I even think that the human story with like the young female journalist and everything,
terrible.
it's not that bad, you know? I mean, I don't know if I'd say it's great, but compared to the rest of them, you know, like Shin Godzilla is the one with the good human story, you know?
Right. And also just probably the best Godzilla part too.
Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic. But this one being a lot more traditional, is like really, really up there with like just next to the original to me in my mind. I think this one's fantastic.
It is. I loved it.
Yeah, it's great. We'll have to see.
Does Godzilla do cool like kung fu moves in the other ones? Or
Oh,
this one he does. Is this one like the most? Like,
this one's
spin?
like the least kung fu-y.
Oh, because I have seen the clip of him doing like the like race like sideways.
Yeah.
I've seen
He
that
does that.
clip on YouTube, which is very funny.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of kung fu ones and some of the older ones as well.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I like it.
But yeah, Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, giant monsters, all out attack.
His atomic breath seemed low key kind of weak in this one though.
I mean, you kind of gotta. Otherwise, he's gonna win.
I guess, yeah.
You know, and that's not. Well, your exposure to that has been Shin Godzilla, where it's like the strongest.
Where he like destroys an entire city.
It's the strongest it's ever been, and then like the legendary ones, where it's also pretty strong in those too. But yeah, you could say that's
Okay,
sure.
I guess that's true. I've only probably seen like 6 Godzilla movies, I think, and there's
I don't
like
think so.
40. I've seen this new one right now.
The 1998 Godzilla does not count.
That doesn't count as a Godzilla
They
movie?
make a joke about that movie in this movie.
Do they really?
I'm pretty sure they're like, wasn't there a Godzilla in New York? They're like, no.
Oh, that's funny.
I might
Okay.
be confusing it with another one, but
If
I
that
know
one doesn't
what
count,
movie it is.
fine. I've seen obviously the 3 new ones. So that's
Oh,
4.
3. That's true.
There's Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah.
So I've seen at least 4. It's 5
5.
if you count that other one. I don't think I've seen another one. So out of 40, whatever.
Right. Exactly. That's okay. I will slowly and surely drip feed Godzilla movies to you.
I will get there.
You will get.
I
them.
like them.
Right. Yeah. They're
I
cool.
haven't disliked any of them.
There's definitely like a few eras that are like more like focused towards children and everything like that. So you might not like those as much. But if you just put them on, like, oh, look at the funny puppet, you know, they're good.
Okay.
What's
Okay.
next? 7 years after that.
7 years later, we have a movie from 2008, Tokyo Sonata.
Directed
I'm
by
very excited to talk about this movie.
Kiyoshi Kurosawa. No relation.
No relation to Akira Kurosawa.
I had to make sure of that immediately.
An ordinary Japanese family slowly disintegrates after its patriarch loses his job at a prominent company.
Yeah. I mean, slowly it happens in like, well, I guess it is slowly. There's like time jumps and stuff, so it is slowly. But it's something that, one, I love this movie. I thought it was great.
I think this movie is incredible.
Yeah. There's definitely culture stuff going on that I had to like remind myself of, like the notion of employment and stuff and unemployment and those unemployment lines and just the many people lying to their families about their job status and stuff because
Right.
it's such like a status thing. And it's like heartbreaking for everybody, you know? You
Yeah.
have the father who has become unemployed and he can't find any work above like janitor, you know, even though
Right.
he was like high up in
Yeah,
it.
and he's like, I was big in this company.
sales
and they're like,
executive or
this is what
something,
you
yeah.
got, buddy.
He's like administrative, whatever. Yeah. Like, well, we have mall floor cleaner. It's like, okay. You have the wife who's just feeling stuck. Like her life has no purpose.
Right.
She gets her driver's license and people are like, why? You aren't supposed to leave the house.
Yeah, it's like,
you know?
you need to be a wife.
And it's like, oh shit, well, somebody please pull me up. And you have the eldest son,
Right.
who is like, I guess disillusioned with like his country on a certain aspect, because he joins the American military because he's like, oh, the American military is who's truly protecting Japan and everything, so he joins them. And then you have the youngest son, who's, you know, like 12 or whatever, and he is trying to find his passion like through piano playing, but his parents like,
His dad specifically.
His dad
Is
specifically.
like, no, can't play the piano.
and his reasoning, which was so great because it was so stupid, was like, I said no the first time, so now I can't ever go back on it.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that that's got to be a deeper rooted, you know, cultural thing of that sort of like feeling of authority and a patriarch, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, he potentially threw his son down the stairs over it.
He did.
Yeah, you know.
He didn't fall.
So he definitely took it like way too far.
I thought he was gonna die. Can I say? I thought the kid was gonna die.
You're like, he's dead. He's
I was
done.
like, or he's like paralyzed. And I
Right.
was like, wow,
he
dark
can
turn.
only move his fingers and play the piano. But yeah, you have a long scene of just them having secrets. Everyone has secrets going around behind everybody's back. I mean, the eldest son's barely in the movie. He's
Yeah,
like so
yeah.
detached from even his family. He's like, oh, I don't even need you to sign off for me to go to the army. I can just get a company to do it for me.
Yeah.
You know? He's that detached from the idea of the family. And the stupid kid won't eat his mom's donuts ever because he's too busy with the piano.
Right, yeah. He finds a keyboard that doesn't work.
Yeah.
But he, like, still can, like, obviously press
it
the
with
buttons,
his
but it
mind.
doesn't make any noise. But
Because
like,
he's like, he takes lessons in secret and he's like a prodigy. you
yeah,
know?
he uses the mom's money he gives him for lunch
For
at
lunch,
school,
yeah.
and he takes lessons.
Here's the interesting thing to me, which, you know, I don't know what you thought of it, but we don't see him play piano until the end.
Nope.
So
We see him, like, fake,
Be like,
like doing
"Do,
it
do,
on
do,
the,
do." Yeah,
on the
that thing.
thing, but
Um,
yeah.
So there was a split second at the end when eventually they go to a piano recital where I was like, or a piano like tryouts thing for a school where I was like, what if he sucks? And like the dad was right. What if he goes like hot cross buns,
Just hot cross buns
and it's like, oh wait, that lady was just trying to get cash because she was like, oh, your son's so good.
Yeah.
Just for a split second, I was like, that would make this movie like the funniest comedy
Yeah.
I've
Oh my
ever
gosh.
seen.
Because there's a part where they find out that he's been taking these piano lessons because they received this letter that the lesson lady is like, he needs to be in this like recital because this
Yeah,
dude,
your son's
he is
super
like
talented.
a genius piano player. And he's like, the dad is like, that's bullshit stuff that they say. He's
Yeah.
like, you're not actually that good. And the kid is like, ah.
And I'm guessing it's like insecurity of him losing his job, being like, my son can't be better than
Yeah.
me. blah,
And
blah,
then
blah.
the worst part is in that he's like, I can't believe you like lied and like did this behind our back. He's like, that's the worst thing that a person can do is lie and keep
Lie.
things from their family when literally he's doing that the whole
whole movie.
time.
Yeah.
And then he throws his son down the stairs.
Well, he tried to catch him.
Yeah.
What does
Okay.
that mean? Yeah, he does that, and the wife's like, "Holy shit, call an ambulance." And then a weird thing happens on the.
There's a huge switch up in like the third act.
Yeah.
It's like Parasite levels.
It's
like
very
switch up.
strange out of nowhere. There's a robbery.
Yes.
The wife is home alone, and a guy comes in with his knife, and he's like, "Where's the money?" And she's like, "Bro, there's no money."
Yeah.
He's like, "Okay, let's come drive me in this car I stole." She's like, "I did just get my license."
Right, because he's so stupid because he like runs outside and he hears the cops, so he comes back in, but he takes his mask off.
Yeah.
And he's like sitting right next to the wife that he like tied up. And he's like, okay, time to leave. He's like, shit. He's like, she's seen me.
Right, yeah. Which actually I was afraid it was going to get a lot darker because I was like, is he going to be like, she can't be left behind? You know?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, this isn't going there, is it?
No, and he's like, drive me.
Yeah.
She's like, hold on, I need to go to the mall first.
Right. And he's like, okay. And she runs into her husband there, who she already actually found out and already knew that he was unemployed
Yeah.
because she'd seen him at like the food give out line or whatever. And he just literally runs away from her.
Yeah, he just runs away.
Just
he doesn't
bolts.
even say anything.
He says no.
Yeah, like, no, and he just runs away.
He had his orange jumpsuit, and he ends up just like falling asleep in like a gutter somewhere.
He gets hit by a car.
Well, yeah, and he's just still falls asleep in the gutter after that.
Right, yeah. He's just laying there.
And the wife is just like, okay, let's go to this shack. I guess I'll take you there with you and your knife. And they go to the shack, and she's like, listen, you're not a failure. I know that you failed and you're unemployed, and you also failed at robbing me, but it's not all bad. And she's like, just stay with me. And then she falls asleep, and he gets in the car, and
He drives into the ocean and kills himself.
drives into the ocean.
Because you don't see it, but you see when she
The
wakes up
track
in the
marks.
morning, there's track marks of the car that just go straight into the ocean.
Yeah.
So
So
you're,
you're
like,
just
oh,
like,
okay.
wow, okay, that was more effective than I thought it would be.
And then the wife proceeds to have like an existential epiphany where she's
On the
like,
beach.
She's walking on the beach and it's very dark. She's just kind of like walking on the beach, but then it just starts getting like really,
Really
bright,
bright.
and she just kind of like looks up and
She's like, is that a star or whatever?
And then cut.
Yeah.
You're just like, what?
Then the little kid ran away at this point also.
Yeah, he runs away with like his
buddy.
friend.
Yeah. And eventually his buddy has an asthma attack, and he's like, okay, we got to call it quits, I guess.
Yeah.
And he goes back home, and his home's just trashed.
Well, he goes to prison.
Oh, he does go to prison. I forgot. He spends the night in jail.
He gets arrested.
That's true. They're like, if you won't tell us where you live, we have to we have to do it as an adult because we
Mm.
have no choice. And he doesn't say anything. Eventually, the guy's like, forget it. He snuck in like to the bus or whatever. He's like, forget
Yeah.
it.
So he just goes home.
He just goes home and he walks into the trashed house and he just sits down and starts eating.
Yeah.
The house is like, the robber's just like rifling through stuff. He's like, oh, okay. And the wife comes home, the mom, and it's like, do you want something to eat? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
They just kind of go about their things.
Yeah. They all have these like crazy nights.
Yeah.
And then they just all come home in the morning.
And I forget. No, it was a dream that the mom had about the son where he had like PTSD.
Yeah, where he comes home and he's like, I killed so many people.
Right, yeah. But that was just a dream that the mom ended up having.
Right.
But I do believe the news report that said that they wouldn't be deployed was real life at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the end of the movie is they're all dressed up and they go to this, entrance test that's watched by all the parents and all the teachers of this like prestigious school. And the little boy, whatever his name was, gets up there and he plays Claire de Lune and it's beautiful.
Yeah. Obviously, most people know, even if you don't know it by like name, Claire de Lune, like if you heard it, you know it. And it is unbelievable.
It really was like a great recording of it, and I was like, wow.
He's like
a great
amazing.
Song. The song was definitely obviously doing a lot of heavy lifting there too, but I was just like, I was like, wow, this little boy's really good at playing the piano.
Yeah.
And the parents were like tearing up, obviously, and everything.
And me.
Right, well, yeah, and everybody in the audience as well.
Yeah.
It really was the perfect song, just to be like, the song is what the movie was. Listen to the song, that's the whole movie, you know? So it's just at the end recapping everything and being like, things were sad, but maybe they'll get better, maybe?
Maybe.
Depends how you look at it.
So, yeah, and then he plays and everyone's like,
He plays like the full song.
Yeah, it's like 5 minutes and you're like, the whole time.
Yeah.
And then it just ends. They like walk up and they just take him. They just walk away.
Mm-hmm. And everyone like kind of watches him. They all like turn their heads and listen and like watch him as he walks out.
Yeah.
One weird thing. What was up with the credits?
What was up with the credits?
During the credits, it was just like noises like.
Oh yeah, like
moving bags or like changing. Like it was just weird noises, and I was like, "What is this?"
Oh, I just realized that possibly could fit into a potential theory I have.
What is your theory? It was all a dream.
This is like. I don't know if
it was like, all a dream by the woman in the hospital from the Godzilla movie.
Okay. Could be.
I
thought about this. I don't know if I'm just like thinking too hard because I really enjoyed I thought this movie was like really fantastic.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
So I was really thinking about it after I was done crying. And I was like, what if the mom and the dad are dead? Like they both like when the dad gets hit by the car, he dies.
Okay.
And when the mom is like she like lays in the ocean, like lets the waves like crash over her, she just drowns and dies. Okay. And that's kind of what like her walking on the beach moment is like her like dying.
Yeah, sure. Bright light.
The kid lives, obviously.
And the older brother.
And the older brother's often wherever.
I mean, he might die out there, so who knows?
I don't know. And then, obviously, the kid is like, well, my family's dead. I can still play piano.
Yeah.
So he plays his amazing piano, and then he, like, imagines his parents, like, being there.
Yeah.
With him to, like, commemorate this great thing he's finally done. I don't know. It doesn't really make sense, but I don't know. I just always thought about that. But then you talked about the... And this is stupid. This doesn't make sense, but... I was like, oh, that could fit in. It could be like them like picking up their bodies and zipping up the body bags.
I mean, I guess, yeah, it could be that. Yeah. I mean, the piano teacher could have like adopted him.
Yeah, because she's there too.
Because she is there and she watches too. I was actually expecting a little bit more out of her character, but really it was fine. Like she didn't need more, but just because I thought they were setting up something, but that they weren't. So that's completely possible. That
I don't know.
The piano, you know what? In my mind, I'm gonna say piano teacher adopts the kid after prison.
So wow, you're on board with me.
Yes, I'm totally on board, and this is the only correct reading now. And the older brother died in the war.
He probably did.
So that's how I think this movie goes.
Interesting.
But that's okay, because sometimes when your family dies or is otherwise removed,
you become successful.
Or maybe you find a new family and it's happy.
The family you choose, like Vin Diesel. Like Dominic Toretto.
Or like the next movie we'll talk about.
Oh, right. I'm so stupid.
which is from 2018, a full decade later.
2018.
Hirokazu Koreeda, right?
Yep.
It is Shoplifters.
Interesting. Yeah, Shoplifters is the movie. It's got an interesting flavor text here for
Ooh,
the
let's
thing.
hear it.
A family of small-time crooks take in a child they find outside in the cold.
Yeah.
Yes, that does happen. I don't know if that's a good, like...
Well, I think it
thing,
might be
though.
good just because I don't know how much you'd want revealed about.
I guess.
The
Yeah.
dynamics are kind of revealed as you watch the movie, you know.
Uh-huh. That is kind of true. I guess it's not terrible.
So this is just a family of misfits, outcasts, like failures, sort of. You know,
Yeah.
if you want to view them that way.
They live in this really tiny house, like, behind a bush. Like, you basically can't even see them.
Like a shack. Yeah.
They live together. There's, like, there's 4 of them plus the grandma plus the kid. So there's 6 of them. And then 7 counting the new kid.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
6 or 7.
Maybe 6.
Yeah, I think 6 actually.
Anyway, so they're just chilling. They shoplift. That's their thing because they don't have a lot of money, so they shoplift food. And when they shoplift food, they do a fun little thing with their fingers like this and
Got little
like that.
signs say like, "Oh yeah, grab it, whatever."
And they're good at it.
They're pretty.
They got
sneaky.
they got the things where they're like just, chilling, browsing, walk right in front of the other person. The other person knocks something off, falls in the bag. What? Nothing happened.
Easy.
Nothing happened.
Very styled.
Yeah, and then they're just walking outside one day, and there's this kid just like outside.
Yeah. And like the cold.
Adorable. Like maybe the cutest little girl ever.
Pretty dang cute.
Unbelievably cute. And they're like, yo, like, you okay? And she's just like,
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like 3 years old.
I'm like, yeah.
So they're like, hey, you want to go eat? And she's like, sure.
She's like, why not? You basically find out that specifically the little girl, her parents were just they were there, but
they're,
they
like,
just
abusive.
like abusive, neglectful,
They're not good parents. Very bad.
very very bad. Like it like hurt to watch because she's literally so young that it's like she doesn't even like understand that you're being that mean.
Yeah, and you can hear like right at the beginning when they find her, you can hear like the parents like yelling in the house, and she's like, "I didn't even want to have her in the first place, but
Right.
you made me," or like something like that. And it's just like, okay,
Yeah, so this whole kind of group, they're like a found family, you know, because the one kid is also like a orphaned kid, right? The little boy, and
well,
okay, yeah,
kind of.
and then eventually, well, I'm just trying to think of, you rewatch this, you take this.
Okay, so basically they just kind of chill with the girl, and they just kind of teach her like what they know, like. Just kind of they live with her or whatever. And the parents of the girl, like the actual parents of the girl, they don't ever file like a police report or anything because they're like, "Hey, she's gone."
Right,
wonderful. So the next like hour and a half of the movie is just kind of happy, like them just kind of living. Like, yeah, they have some like tough moments, but it's nothing like terrible.
They still do a little bit of crime.
Yeah, they shoplift a little bit. They kind of teach the girl how to shoplift.
I remember they teach her how to like break into a car. Like they teach how to break into a car at a certain point.
Yeah,
like
and they just kind of, do some bad stuff. They're having fun. They're bonding as a family. Then there's this big moment where they go to the beach and they have a lovely time. And it's very beautiful. And the grandma is like, this is great. My life is awesome. And then she
dashes some sand on herself. She's like,
oh,
no,
I'm old.
I'm really old. And then like the next scene, dead.
She dies. And the thing is that nobody knows. Everyone thinks that the grandma lives like alone there. No one knows that all these people live with her. So when she dies, they're like, oh shoot.
Yeah.
We're just gonna like bury her right here in the backyard, which is like the little tiny thing.
Yeah.
So they like dig a hole like in their house and they like bury her or whatever. But then the 2 kids run away to like do whatever. And they're shoplifting. And the boy is like, you know what? I'm going to steal these oranges right in front of these people. And props to the workers or the worker. This dude chases this kid so far. If I worked at a grocery store and a kid took some oranges, I would be like,
really?
See you later, kid.
Doesn't he chase him like off a bridge?
He chases him so far and they eventually get him surrounded on a bridge. Yeah. And the kid like jumps off the bridge and then you see the oranges like spill everywhere. Like, oh my, he's dead.
Yeah.
He's not dead. He
No, he's
breaks
fine.
his leg, but he gets caught, and eventually that leads to the rest of the family getting caught as they're trying to like escape. And then the last 20 minutes of the movie is just
heartbreaking.
despair and sadness.
There's a scene where like the kid's taken out on the bus and the guy's following like and you know. And
Yeah, that's like the very end.
that's like the very end. Yeah.
Yeah, because
I remember they take the mom and dad like into like interrogation or whatever, and a line that really stuck with me is like, "How did you feel like teaching children like how to steal? It's like, why did you do that?
it's the
It's
only
like,
thing.
It's the only thing I know. Like,
Yeah.
what else am I gonna teach them? And I thought that was like a great moment in the film, like especially at the timing and everything. And the little girl,
Oh my gosh. It's so freaking sad.
oh my gosh,
We'll get to the ending in a second. But the one part that really got me the second time was they're interviewing the wife. Because the one dude and the other girl are actually like man and wife.
Yes, married. Yeah.
They're like interviewing her and they were like, we know because she like murdered her other husband like earlier in like life.
Was she also like a baron, or am I misremembering?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she can't have kids.
Yeah.
And they're like, we know you can't have kids, so why'd you kidnap this girl or whatever? And they were basically like, we didn't really kidnap her. She just kind of like lived with us or like whatever. She could have left anytime she wanted to. And then she was like, you do this because you can't be a mother. And then she's basically like, she was like, do you have to be able to give birth to be a mother?
Right. It's
And-
like just giving birth to someone doesn't make
And she
you
was
a
like,
mother.
just because you give birth doesn't mean you're a mom. And the other lady's like, well, you have to. And she was like, and then she starts like crying. And there's like a long part where she's like wiping away like a lot of tears. And I was like, wow, this is really powerful. And she was like, okay.
And then, of course, that juxtaposed with what the little girl going back to her mother, where I don't know if that is the scene that's right at the end, but I just remember her like this like grown woman, the mom of this like 3-year-old being like, "Oh, come here, I have like a snack for you," and just planning on beating the shit out of her if she like gets within arm's reach. And the little girl's like wants the snack, because she's 3, and it's just like
It's terrible. And then the very end is the girl's like playing, and it's cute because she's doing like playing a little game with herself that she learned with the family. And so she's playing that little game with herself that she learned with like her found family. And then she like gets up and she like looks over like the ledge of like their porch or whatever. And she's like looking towards where they were living at. And then she just kind of like looks out and then the movie just ends.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
she's stuck in the. It's like
rip my heart out and
very, very
drop it in a
sad.
blender.
because it just ends.
It just ends and you're like, there's nothing happy about this. There's one, the kid, the boy, he kind of gets like, starts living in an orphanage, and the dad is like, hey, you can go find your actual parents, because you find out that they kind of actually stole him from like a car.
Right. Yeah.
They're like, yeah, we just kind of took you from this car. And you're like, whoa, that's kind of deep. And then obviously there's the part where he's like, the kid is like, I got caught with the oranges on purpose because he like wanted it to end or whatever. And then he gets on the bus, and the part you're thinking of where the dad is like chasing him.
Yeah.
And he's like not looking back.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my gosh. But then after the dad like stops chasing, he like looks back and then he mouths dad. And it's the first time he ever calls him dad in the whole movie. And you're like, dang.
The whole movie's literally designed to make you cry at the end somewhere.
It's
like, which one's gonna get
the
you
last
the
20
most?
minutes is so brutal.
Yeah, it's a very fun experience.
Yeah. But it's so great. It's such a great movie. I would very much recommend it.
And I would say, they say like movies like Dune,
What?
you need to see them in a movie theater. I
Yeah.
would say Shoplifters, you have to see in a movie theater that's shaped like a hallway.
Right.
It's just the
We're
only.
going to talk about our experience in the
That's
watching.
it. It's over, right? It was what, like 4 seats on the left, 2 seats on the right. Like
It was
a
a weird theater.
Like it was a
we were in.
plane cockpit, like or
Yeah.
whatever.
It was weird.
And it was just like a screen at the top, and it was long and skinny.
It was very strange.
I appreciate that experience.
It was
I
nice.
thought
It was very
great.
it was very special.
Yeah, it was.
No one else really could have experienced it like that.
Except those like 7 people that were in the theater. If that, I wasn't very busy.
Right. But it was
yeah.
cool. Yeah, this movie outrageously sad.
We were waiting on Shoplifters for like a while. I remember.
We were hyped for this.
Yeah, we were like Shoplifters, and it was. I mean, I wouldn't say it was exactly what we expected.
Right.
Because we came out of it like to tears. We were like, I'm glad I waited.
Yeah, this movie was really great. Really good stuff all around.
But obviously, when you're not watching it, you can be like, yeah, that's a really, really just emotional movie.
Yeah, man. The second time, the mom part where she's like, "You just have to. Do you have to have a baby to be a mom?" I was like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, that's so true."
Yeah.
She was like, "That doesn't make you a mom," and I was like, "You're a mom to me."
Right. And it's interesting. I like that, in my memory at least, the investigators or whoever it was weren't necessarily portrayed as like villains. They weren't made out to be like evil and mean. They're just like, this is how things are. It's like, you did a bad thing. You know? It wasn't like they were like, we're going to destroy you, which I appreciated the like realisticness of that. You know? I like that.
Great movie.
Phew. We did it.
We did do it. We did all of it.
That was all of our spotlight films of the episode.
That was it. The ones that we wanted to talk about. Well, there was another one, but
let's mention it. Why not?
So there's a movie called The Taste of Tea, which I very much wanted to see very badly. And funny enough, this movie is like a comedy,
right?
Which would have been a nice little lighthearted in the middle of all this terrible stuff that we've been talking about. So I bought the movie because the movie is like not on any streaming service. Yeah. You can't find it anywhere. So I was like, okay, I'll buy it. Whatever. I buy it. I put it in my PlayStation.
Region locked.
It's region locked. What the heck?
Didn't read the fine print. Getting it every time.
So we couldn't watch it.
Yeah. I mean, we should probably invest in like a different region Blu-ray player or something. Because I'm sure there's other films.
I would like to see that movie.
Yeah, that would be nice. I would also like to see that movie. So if we can make that happen, let's make it happen.
So yeah.
Anyway, so that would have been the last one, but whatever. Here's the thing, guys. This was just, it's not that many movies that we just talked about. There's a ton of movies from all countries, So whenever we next bring out that spinner, maybe we'll keep Japan off of it next time we use the spinner. If you remember, that's last episode how we decided.
Yeah, we did the spinning
spotlight.
wheel.
Maybe we'll keep it off the next time, but next time after that, we could put it back on and spin it, and we could do 10 more films or 9 more films from Japan that we want to talk about,
or whatever country.
This is definitely a spotlight that will have a part 2 at some point.
Yeah,
I feel
we love foreign films.
Yeah, for real. Did you watch them all dubbed? I assume.
Dubbed. Actually, Jinro was dubbed because there was no sub available.
Interesting.
For on Amazon, there was like no dub.
Oh, Amazon.
There's no sub. I was like, that's weird. Usually Amazon always has.
That is strange.
But I will be honest, the dub was pretty good for Jinro.
Good to
and
know.
I'm not like a dub hater, but like the sub is 99% of the time better.
It's how it was designed,
But the dub was pretty solid for Jinro. I won't lie, it was pretty good.
That's good. So we gotta move on.
It's time for the reviews of the week.
Reviews of the week.
Here we go.
What do you got for us? I'm really excited for the reviews of the week.
Cultural mindset clash, 1 out of 10. Having watched the film and read the reviews that focused on the intended metaphor, I still could not but feel annoyed at how he gave up trying to escape and accepted his fate. I cannot but compare what I might have done in the same predicament as the one he found himself in. I would have totally focused on escaping until I did escape, and by getting to the beach and following the shoreline, then I would return with a backup crew and lay my vengeance on those kidnappers for holding me hostage to teach them that there is a price to pay for wrongdoing. There is a Zen thing going on, which the entomologist guy embraced in the end, but that isn't my culture or mindset.
You give it a 1 out of 10? The Woman in the Dunes?
1 out of 10 for The Woman in the Dunes.
Do they watch every movie like that?
They're just like, that's not what I would do.
Do they watch Love, Simon and go, I simply would not be homosexual? And that's just how they are at the end?
Oh, that's funny.
This is not my culture.
It's not my culture.
That's really, really a stupid review.
I know.
Mine's a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10? They loved it.
10 out of 10. You simply must not masturbate to understand this. You need to be ethical enough to really appreciate this movie. That's the whole review. So which movie you think masturbating needs to be off the table for proper watching?
No masturbating.
None. And I'll tell you, it's one of the ones I picked, just so you know. None. Nothing. Not even once.
Not once.
You can not be jerking the gherkin. You cannot be spanking the monkey. You cannot be pulling the bishop, one-eyed bishop in a turtleneck.
Dreamz.
Yes.
It was so good. I'm so good. Let's go.
You simply mustn't. I don't know where they got that from.
I know it's hard to resist the urge during Dreamz, but
Hey, it's called Dreams, not Wet Dreams. Okay.
that's a J. Cole song.
Okay.
It is.
Anyway.
Anywho,
Any what, really?
when?
Anyhow.
Where?
At.
Hey, did you know that you could email us?
Okay.
I didn't know what you were going for there.
At where? You said where? At the Stagler Pod. Yeah.
The StaglerPod@gmail.com. That's where you can email us, the things.
Emails.
And the question,
Suggestions,
whatever you want.
questions, compliments, whatever you need.
The StaglerPod@gmail.com. Very cool.
We have one coming in that says, the MPA and Hays Code, the Dastardly rules that rates our beloved movies on a scale from G to R and gives us our do's and don'ts of filming. Well, it's actually G to NC-17, but I get you. I got to throw in the corrections, because I don't want people to be uninformed.
Right.
NC-17, that's like porn.
Yeah.
They are two of the most influential things done to the film industry. I was wondering if you guys would ever do a show tackling the rating system, like movies that should have been a different rating, cough, Carnage, cough. Yeah,
Hey, that's what we were talking about.
And maybe a look at pre-code Hollywood and talk about its long-term effect on how movies were made back then and still influenced by today. I think you two would have some really good takes on it. Thanks for the show. Happy Labor Day. Oh, happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day.
We work really hard, so Labor Day is like
Absolutely,
our holiday.
yeah.
'Cause,
No podcast on Labor Day.
yeah, no podcast on Labor Day. It's just too much work.
Way too much.
You don't understand. We
That
love
is
to
an
do a show.
interesting idea for
That
a show.
is a very interesting idea for a show, and I think that's something we can definitely jot down. And
Absolutely.
do in the future. When you talk about stuff like the Hays Code, it was so insanely pervasive. So one of the rules, it's been a while since I actually read the whole rundown, but one of the rules, this was from I want to say 1930 to 1960 was when the Hays Code was a thing. And I could be off, but it's about there. And one of the things was no sexual deviancy allowed in films. And it was made partly just, I think, because there's criticisms from people about the lifestyle of Hollywood and stuff. And that was part of the reason. And just other cultural things being we need to purify the nation. So no sexual deviancy. Do you want to guess some of the things that means?
Just tell me.
Okay. No interracial relationships. That's sexual deviancy.
Cool.
No homosexuality. That's an easy one.
Of course.
I think women weren't allowed to be pregnant during this because that was, I don't know.
Okay.
So it's basically anything that they were I don't quite like that. They could be sexual deviancy and just put it off. And it was also a thing with crime where they're no crime can be shown on screen. If somebody does a crime, they have to do it off camera or something.
Very nice.
Or you could never tell someone how to do a crime. It has to, be totally not just referenced, not actually shown. And it was a ton of stuff that goes into that, which has had an effect, long lasting, especially looking back on these characters. A lot of characters at the time, if we talk about the homosexuality being obviously gay coded, where it's oh, this character is obviously gay, but they're not because the movie wouldn't have been able to get made. So they have to be. We talked about Lawrence of Arabia, even that, where it's okay, there's something going on here, but they can't actually say anything about it because it was in the middle of or it would have been the later of the Hays Code era.
Right.
But stuff like that. It'd definitely be an interesting thing to have a full episode on and maybe talk about some more landmark stuff and the changes that had to be made. It's definitely something we could look into. But yeah, thank you for the...
That was great. No, it was great. Email.
For the email. Email. Okay, guys. That does it for the show for now.
Yeah. We
I just saw our next spotlight.
We have
I had
a
it written
great,
down.
we have a great
It's
spotlight.
fantastic. Obviously, it makes perfect sense. You can obviously see our thought process when we say this next spotlight. Next episode 38, right, is going to be best land-based vehicle collisions.
Yep, you heard it.
So we originally we wanted to call it best car crashes, but then we're like, well, what about trucks? You know,
Yeah.
what about boats that are like being towed by a truck, stuff like that. We said,
ATVs.
okay, ATVs, you know, motorcycles. That's a big one. Akira. Hello. That's funny. So, best land-based vehicle collisions in film. Just picking out some random ones, I guess. Just cool ones. I already got a few in mind.
Oh yeah.
It should be a fun, just random hodgepodge episode. I'm certain the movies are gonna be like from here to there genre,
Yeah.
quality even.
So, quick question.
Okay, question.
Land-based vehicle would.
If a plane is on the ground, it counts.
Okay, so Tenet is on board.
Tenet is on board for this.
Okay,
It's as long as the vehicle is on land, it counts. But boats in the water or cars that turn into boats in the water does not count.
Okay,
Planes that take off on the water, not allowed.
gotcha.
Has to be land-based.
Cool.
If a wheel's touching ground, it will be found on the next episode of the stack.
Nice, good one.
Okay, guys, we'll see you then. Been a lot of fun. Had a lot of time doing this. Learned a little about each other and our dreams.
We learned, yeah. We deep dove.
Guys, you know, it'd be interesting if you guys have had any cool dreams. Why don't you just go ahead and comment them or send an email even? We'd love to hear that. If you
Drop
got
it in the
anything
comments.
interesting.
Add us on Twitter.
Add us on Twitter,
Do
yeah,
whatever.
for sure. At _ Dictionary for you, and at Mervillian YT for me if you're watching the video.
At the Stagler, _Stagler.
And you can find both of our socials there as well.
Also.
in the bio area, I suppose.
Yes.
But yeah, that'll do it for this time, guys. See you later.
Sayonara.